Christ, I am disciple here, and blessings to everybody at this point in time. As you can see from the title, we're going to be looking at the SnyderVerse and its relevance. And I invite you guys to come and join this stream at this time. But before I do so, let me first ensure that I check out a couple things. So I'm going to check out something right now. Just checking out something here. Make sure. Excuse me. Okay, right now it should be streaming. Hold on a second. Let's see, it's streaming on YouTube. Yep, it's streaming on YouTube. Yep, and that's me right there. Got a little delay. All right, good. All right, so let me just circulate the link for the stream. Hold on 1 second, I might freeze. Yeah, I'm frozen right at this moment. I'm trying to get the link for it. Yep. Okay. Leroy Kung in the building. How you doing, Leroy? Yep. Hope everything is good to you as well. Hello to you, Leroy. All right. If you want to be a guest, on the stream, all you got to do is click that link right there that's presented on the stream right there. It's in the chat area. And you can hop on if you want to. All right. Cool beans. So I am Christ, I am disciple. And before I do anything, I always like to read a piece of scripture for you guys, so you're gonna have to forgive me. This is just the way I am. This is the way my channel works. So I got a piece of scripture for you guys. It comes from Matthew chapter 11, verses 10 and 11. It goes like this. I believe the page was turned as well. All right, I had it there. Okay. It says, "Look, I am sending my messenger before you, and he will prepare your way before you. I assure you, of all that have ever lived, none is greater than John the Baptist. But the most insignificant person in the kingdom of heaven is greater than he is." John the Baptist was a prophet who ushered in the Christ, declared to the world that the Christ and who he was. And was one of the greatest of the prophets. And if you are anybody in the kingdom of God, you, my friends, are even greater than he is. Why? Because you actually represent the image of Christ to somebody else. Anytime you represent something that's good and noble and wonderful, and you also have all the capabilities Christ has, you're a blessing to other people. You're actually showing Christ to other people. So I just wanted to say that before I get into what we're going to talk about. Leroy Kong is in the building. Leroy Kong has said, "Crap Barbie is now at 774 million. Kudos to the movie. It's doing its thing. It's giving Warner Brothers some money. All right, well, cool for that. Good for them. Me, I'm not really focused on that movie, as you know. I don't think it sends a proper message. So I just started off with scripture. Okay. The next thing I'm going to talk to you guys about is the relevance of the SnyderVerse. The relevance. Okay, that's what we're actually going to be talking about right now for a good period of time. And if you guys want to hop on, like I said before, the link is in the chat. You're going to chop it up with me. All right. But I want to talk about some things nobody else is really talking about concerning the SnyderVerse, and even concerning certain things that are transpiring in the world today and the SnyderVerse. So we're going to talk about that. All right. So what I'm going to do right now is, there you go, SnyderVerse relevance. That's what we're going to be talking about. And got a bunch of stuff to talk about. And what I got, thank God, is I have a phone as well. So this is my phone right here. You guys can see that's me right now on the phone as I'm going through different things. So we're going to talk with you guys. But what I'm going to use the phone for is I'm going to actually pull up some of Zack Snyder's movies. Well, when we look at the SnyderVerse movies, we're really talking about Man of Steel, Batman v Superman, the Ultimate Edition, not the theatrical necessarily. I'm being more specific, because I'm telling you what I think the SnyderVerse is, right? Wonder Woman, 2017, and then Zack Snyder's Justice League. That for me is the SnyderVerse. It's not Suicide Squad, even though I know people that version of Suicide Squad, I don't believe is David Ayer's version. I want to see David Ayer's version, because that's the version that I think is the SnyderVerse version. What I mean by this, so I'm going to just give you my definition of what the SnyderVerse is. Now, I know the SnyderVerse is really all the movies from once Zack Snyder was in charge and kind of laying out somewhat of a sketchy of his vision. We say therefore Man of Steel, BVS, Suicide Squad, Wonder Woman, right? And then the SnyderVerse is broken for a minute by Justice League 2017, and then we get Aquaman. So that generally is the slate of movies I think it's 6 movies, from Man of Steel to Aquaman, which is considered the SnyderVerse. However, I've decided to qualify it a little bit different in that I wanted the director's vision to be on the screen. We know Patty Jenkins' vision was on the screen. We know that Zack Snyder's vision was on the screen. And those are the only movies where the director's vision actually was on the screen. You could say James Wan too, but I prefer not to include him in this. There's Aquaman. Even though you could include the Aquaman movie in there, I don't think so. Not because James Wan didn't say that's his movie, because it was his movie. But I believe that his vision was changed. Well, not his vision, but the movie was changed up so significantly by Warner Brothers that I'm not really. But it is what it is, right? So I just want to talk about the movies. When David Ayer's Suicide Squad movie comes out, then I'll include that in the Snyderverse. But until then, there are only 4 movies I see that really are truly the Snyderverse. I know that's Patty Jenkins' Wonder Woman movie. That's what she wanted to do. Man of Steel is what Zack definitely wanted to do with the movie. BVS Ultimate Cut is what Zack wanted to do with that movie. And then Zack Snyder's Justice League is what Zack wanted to do with the movie. Now, if you want to include James Wan's Aquaman, you can. That's up to you. But for me, I prefer to look at those movies because I do know a little bit about Aquaman and what was supposed to happen, something more like Throne of Atlantis. That's what James was working on, and it kind of just flipped and went sort of a different direction. But it's all good. All right. We're going to talk about the relevance of these movies. What I mean by that is, if you did watch the post on Twitter, you would know we were speaking about the politics involved, how it speaks to political things, how it speaks to some events before they even happened, and also speaks to a number of issues in society, relevant issues. And this is what I like about the Snyderverse, is its relevance, how relevant it is. A lot of DC movies today are not very relevant to the times. A lot of times because they're trying to capture this nostalgia in a bottle, which they can't do because of very important ingredients that needed to be there to get the nostalgia. They continuously are irrelevant. And because when movies are not relevant, people will not go see them. So the Snyderverse was from 2013 to 2016, basically. Or should I say 2013 to 2017, because you have to include the Wonder Woman movie. However, in 2021, we got a glimpse of it again for one movie, which was Zack Snyder's Justice League, which has not gone into theaters yet. But I am definitely pushing for it to go into theaters and into also IMAX.
Hello.
How you doing, my
Hi.
brother?
Can you hear me good? Can you hear me?
I can hear you extremely well.
Oh, come around the fan and me. I got hot here in Jamaica. Yeah.
No problem, man. I know it's
Yeah,
kind
that's
of
why.
late right now. It's like 10:41 in
It's
the night,
okay.
but
It's,
I
it's
feel like this is
9:41 here in Jamaica. It's
yeah,
9:41
same.
here in Jamaica.
Oh, you're 1 hour ahead of behind
1
us.
hour
Okay,
behind. Yes, yes.
that's interesting. How is that possible? Jamaica's where? Oh yeah, that
Jamaica.
makes sense. That makes
Yeah.
sense. No,
In
no,
the
no,
West
no. I
Indies.
get it. You're to the
Yeah.
west of us. That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
Okay. So right. So let me get into what the relevance of the Snyderverse. And you can fill me in on this, right? I got my
Mm-hmm.
notes, all kind of stuff here. All right. Now the Snyderverse. So when I talk about the Snyderverse, I'm talking about particularly Man of Steel,
Mm-hmm.
Batman v Superman, the Ultimate Edition,
Edition. Yes. Mm-hmm.
Wonder Woman,
Yes.
and Zack Snyder's Justice League. I'm not talking about Justice League 2017. I'm not talking about Aquaman. I'm not talking about the Suicide Squad, because
Okay.
those 3 movies. Okay. Well, James Wan's Aquaman
James Bond
is
Aquaman
James
is in the
Wan.
Snyderverse.
That's his
That's in
stuff.
the
But
Snyderverse. Yeah.
I know, but that's his stuff. But I feel like they changed up the movie. This is my personal feeling about it. The look and everything was changed up. Once Zack Snyder was
Okay.
removed in 2017. If you get what I'm saying.
Okay.
You understand what I'm
Okay.
saying? So that's why I
Okay.
said, because that came out in 2018.
Yeah, but
and
Zack
they did it
Snyder he was also involved in Aquaman. Zack Snyder is was
in the
also involved in
beginning.
Aquaman.
In the
Yes.
beginning, in the
So
beginning, as soon as he was out of the picture, Jeff Johns took over and John Berg. Remember, they were the head of DC. They took over,
okay.
and I think they sort of James Wan was still bailed out by the action scenes of Aquaman, but the substance of Aquaman was nothing like what it was supposed to be. It was supposed to
Yeah.
be a battle between him and Orm,
Yeah.
right? It was supposed to be
And I
not.
also
There
heard
was
that.
not supposed to be.
Yeah.
There was not supposed to be no Black Manta in the story. There was not
Yeah.
supposed to be. It was supposed to be a story. Yes, it's still a swashbuckling adventure. You still have gotten that swashbuckling adventure, but you would have gotten
Yeah.
more danger. You'd still have
Yeah.
gotten humor too, but you would have got more
Yeah.
danger in the story. Kind of
Yeah.
like more like what you saw with the trench.
Yeah.
Aquaman would have been more like that.
Yeah. But
So
and I
the
also
tone
heard
of
that. Sorry. I also heard that in the artwork, Superman and Batman were to appear in it. That's Henry Cavill and Ben Affleck.
yes,
But
yes,
Mark Hamill said no with his ego.
yes, and Jeff
Yeah.
Johns. Remember Jeff?
Yeah.
Actually, Walter Amada wasn't. Oh yeah, yeah. Walter Amada took
Yeah.
over. That's right. Right.
Yeah.
So basically, the action scene in the beginning of Aquaman with the Queen
Yeah.
was sick, but it was actually supposed
Yeah.
to be darker and it was supposed to be in the night. So there's a lot of
Oh.
things that they changed up in the story, just like what they did with Justice League 2017. They changed up a lot of things. They changed up a lot
Yeah.
of things in Aquaman. So for me, personally speaking, and you saw what Aquaman was supposed to be in Zack Snyder's Justice League.
Yeah.
When you look at the Aquaman in Zack Snyder's Justice League, and you look at the Aquaman in Justice League 2017, they're miles apart, right? They're
Yeah.
not the same. They're not the same character. One's
Yeah.
telling a lot of jokes and kind of wacky, kind of.
Yeah.
The other one in Zack Snyder Justice is much more measured, more thoughtful, more controlled. You know,
Yeah.
um,
Yeah.
so you see what Zach was going for, and you could see that that would have translated into Aquaman. And you saw the changes in Aquaman. You saw the lack of
Yeah.
continuity with Mira. She had a different
Yeah.
accent. Her story, background story was different. You saw
Yeah.
Vulko look different to the Vulko in Zack Snyder Justice League, and it
Yeah.
had a different backstory as well. So there was just a lot of things that they changed up,
Yeah.
right? Now with Wonder
Yeah.
Woman, they couldn't change up. They couldn't change up everything because Zach wrote the story. So they did
Yeah.
some
Zack Snyder.
changes.
Yeah. And his team. Yeah.
Yeah. And then the people who were working with Wonder Woman was Zack Snyder's stunt team and everything. So,
Yeah.
and then Jeff Johns and they just got in charge of stuff, but Jeff Johns was really just working with Patty Jenkins as a writer. So,
Yeah.
and Zach was still in the picture. Zach was still there doing a movie. So they couldn't really do what they wanted to do with Wonder Woman. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
And
anyway,
with all due respect, I'll just say something.
yeah,
Many of
sure.
these fans nowadays, there are a bunch of hypocrites. They have an hypocrisy against Zack Snyder. A lot of these so-called fans, you know what I mean? They're
Right.
biased against Zack Snyder, which is a really shame and disgrace. And the fan base are divided now because of that. You know what I mean? But they're
But
accusing
here's
you
the
and that.
funny thing. If you were watching Twitter today, you would know that Zack
Yeah.
Snyder put out a tweet concerning Blue Beetle. And Zack
Yeah, he
Snyder
said he's
said
going to
he was
watch
going to.
Blue Beetle.
Yeah, he
He
said
said
he's
he's
going to
going
go
to
with his kids. He's going to go with
with
his
his kids.
kids to watch Blue Beetle
Yeah.
because he
Yeah.
feels like representation is an important thing. It's first
Yeah.
Latino movie and so on like that.
Yeah.
I'm not going to go see it because
I'm not
I
going to go
don't
see
like
it either.
I don't
Not
like the
interested.
movie at all, and especially the
Yeah.
trailer when they said Batman is a fascist. I was like, okay, all right,
Yeah.
I'm out.
No,
You
I'm
know.
not watching it.
And
And
then the tone
because
of
of
it for
James
me,
Gunn.
and the tone for
Yeah.
me, I couldn't even care if it was James Gunn or not. The tone
Yeah.
for me just doesn't. I just don't vibe with that tone. Period.
Yeah.
That, and we're gonna go into all of that because we'll speak about
Yeah.
how the
But
Snyderverse is
can
relevant.
I say something? They're calling you and I Sniper, saying that we are Snyder cults and we are obsessed with Zack Snyder. I'm not obsessed with Zack Snyder. I'm not obsessed with anything. You
Clearly,
know,
I
some
am
of
not.
these idiots. I'm not
Many
obsessed
people
with
they call
anything.
it Snyder cultists. It's because we're so
Yeah.
vocal online, right? It's
You
just that
understand?
they can't control us. One and two is because they are angry that we keep on bombarding everybody with what we want. We keep on saying, this is what we want. This is what we want. This is what people, we
This that.
reminding everybody
Yeah.
time and time again how Warner Brothers is dropping the ball. That's why they call us Snyder cultists. They know
Yes.
we're not Snyder cultists. It's not whatever
I
Zack
know
Snyder
Snyder
says, whatever Zack Snyder could. Zack Snyder liked and endorsed The Flash. He liked and endorsed almost every single DCU movie. He would like it. That didn't mean nothing, right? That doesn't mean that I'm going to like it, right? I know what I like.
Mhm.
He makes some movies that I like. Not all the movies he makes I like, but a lot of his movies I like. So, and I like it because, and this is why we've been talking about this, because of the relevance of it. If it's a relevant movie, I'll be real with you. The Flash movie to me was very irrelevant, right? I've seen bits and pieces of it, and
I've seen it. I think it's
I
good.
am
I think it's the
so
best movie of
sorry.
2023.
I am so sorry that Michael Keaton came back to do this. Michael Keaton left the Batman franchise because Tim Burton, I'm going to say it again. Tim Burton was the guy that they didn't want to do anything with. And Keaton said, if you go and fire Burton, I gone. He should have stick to that and should have never have come back, because the guy who directed him is not Tim Burton. And the way how Tim Burton did the Batman movies, right? The way how Tim Burton did the Batman movies.
It was James Gunn changed the ending of the Flash because he was not supposed to die. He was there at the end.
Here's the thing.
He was there alongside Ben Affleck.
It don't matter. It don't matter. Here's my
All
point.
of them were there.
You know what? Wait. What I'm saying is, you gotta hear me out first. What made Batman 1989 and Batman Returns so appealing to people like myself is the fact that it was actually a dark, gothic movie. I'm gonna say it again.
What is James Gunn's fault? James Gunn loves up everything.
1989 was a dark, gothic movie. In fact, people were complaining it was too dark for kids because people were dying in that movie left, right, and center.
It was very well made.
Violent, very dark movie. Now, why I'm saying this is because Michael Keaton came back to do a Batman that was not in a dark movie. This movie was light. In fact, Batman was fighting in the day and all kind of crazy things. When you look at Tim Burton's movies, Batman's never fighting in the day. Never.
Well,
all his action scenes, all his fights was in the night on the cover of darkness, right? Even when he came out the shadows and he scared the living daylights out of the criminal who shoot at him, right? Yeah. In Batman 1989, and he said, "Who are you?" He said, "I'm Batman. Tell your friends about me." Right? He was intimidating because what? He dressed in black. Why is he dressed in black? To blend in with the night, right? Batman is a creature of the night, literally. In the very first comic that ever came out about Batman, he's called the mysterious, weird creature of the night. That's what they call him. So why is he in the middle of the day fighting anything? Batman's even Christopher Nolan said Batman's great advantage is his ninja, right? He's a pair out of nowhere, right? So how is he going to appear out of nowhere in the day? Help me understand.
He fought in the day in Christopher Nolan's Dark Knight.
Dark Knight Rises. He fought in the day. Yeah. But my point is, he's not a day person. Batman is a nocturnal night person. He does all of his work in the night.
Yeah, but James Gunn loads up everything. James Gunn loads up everything. He's the one that loads up everything.
My point is bringing back Michael Keaton, just like how they right now paying Zack Snyder to make an ad for Blue Beetle, thinking people will follow that. People don't buy BS. People will not buy stuff that they don't like. They just won't do it. So
I'm not interested in no Blue Beetle.
Bring in people you think because you bring Zack Snyder, you'll bring his following and we'll endorse it. No.
And Aquaman in the Lost Kingdom is going to be false as well because James Gunn is fooling around with it. James Gunn is
Yeah,
much it up,
but this
and
is
James Gunn is
not
upset.
new though. What I always keep on trying
Yeah.
to tell you, Leroy, is this happened before. This happened with the first Aquaman. So they messed with the first Aquaman, and James Wan didn't say nothing. So they come back now and they say, well, we could mess with this one too because guess
They
what?
should let
We
James
made a
Gunn do
billion
his
dollars in the
thing.
first one,
Yeah.
so it
But
is
he's
what
not
it
going to
is.
make any money. Sorry, he's not going to make any money because of James Gunn.
Well, the way how they introduced Aquaman in the Flash, why would it make money? He's a laughing stock, right? They made a
All right.
mockery of him in the Flash. He fall face, you go fall face first into a puddle. How Aquaman could get drunk off alcohol? Aquaman can't get drunk. So all of these things don't make no sense to me. You get what I'm saying? Doesn't
Yeah.
make no sense. Like, what are you doing? That's your intro to the Aquaman movie, The Lost Kingdom. You're gonna have him drunk and falling face first into the thing for a joke. You
And
get
the
what I'm
thing
saying?
is, they cut out Ben Affleck scenes and Michael Keaton scenes from Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom, which is sad. They shouldn't have done that. They should keep it. Ben Affleck was underwater. He meets Ben Affleck. The Flash found Ben Affleck and he meets and then James Gunn cut it out. So
You
sad.
know what I mean? So let's
Yeah,
keep it. We keeping it moving though. But so the
yeah.
relevance of the SnyderVerse and all of these things is very important. Henry Cavill without Zack Snyder does not look great as Superman, right?
No,
Joss Whedon
I don't
directed
think so.
him.
No, no, I don't think so.
He
If he gets
doesn't.
the
He
right
looks
director
great.
in place,
He looks
yes, he
great
looks
as
good.
Superman. He looks
Yes, look
no,
in the red
no.
and
I
blue.
didn't say good. I didn't say good. What did I say? Said
He
he
looks
doesn't
great.
look great.
No man, he looks
Tell
great
me.
in Black Adam. Yes, he looks
No,
great in
no,
Black
no, no,
Adam.
no, no, no,
Henry
no,
Cavill
no.
looks great in Black
No, he
Adam.
looked all right. He looked all right.
He looks great in Justice
He
League
looked like
theatrical.
he looked like I'm gonna tell you what kind of version of Superman he looked like. He looked kind of like a kind of semi cosplay Superman. He didn't look like
No man,
Superman. He
no,
didn't look
no.
like
Henry Cavill
super
looks great
Superman.
as
No,
Henry Cavill always
no
looks great
way.
as Superman. Yes
No,
man, yes man.
no,
Henry
no.
Cavill is
Let me tell you
Superman.
let
Henry
me tell you
Cavill
when
is
he looked like
Superman.
Superman. He looked like Superman
Look
in
here, look
Zack
here. Let me
Snyder's
show you
Justice
something.
League. He
He
looked
looks
like
great right there.
Superman.
Look at that. That's him in the red and blue. He looks great right there.
Show
He
me
looks
again. Show
great
me
right
again.
there.
Show me again. I ain't seen anything. I'm still not seeing anything.
It's there. It's supposed to be there.
I'm not seeing. I'm not seeing him. Look, let me show you Henry Cavill
Look
as
here.
Superman, man.
Look. You see it?
Hold on.
That's the man on my laptop. There he is. You see?
Hold on.
You see?
I'm going to show you Black Adam Superman, and I'm going to show you Superman from any
Yeah.
movie that Zack
But
Snyder directs.
anyway, put it. Henry Cavill still looks good.
Just now. All right. Come on, pull it up. All right. Hold on. I'm going to show
But
you Henry Cavill
Henry
Superman
Cavill
with
looks
Black
great.
Adam.
Yes,
Nah,
he looks great.
no way, Jose, bro. No way, Jose. No way, Jose. I'm going to show
All
you
right.
two pictures. I'm going to show you two pictures. All right, cool. I'm going to show you right now.
Henry Cavill looks great in the red and blue.
It's not about the red and blue, bro. It's
Yeah,
about
but he looks
how
great.
the costuming is put forward. You could have a costuming that look like cosplay, and you could have costuming that look like
But
costuming.
Henry Cavill don't look like
Hold on,
cosplay.
hold
Henry
on,
Cavill always look good as
just one
Superman.
second.
Anyway, put it. He and Ben Affleck and Gal Gadot, they all look great as Superman, Batman, and Wonder
All
Woman.
right. All right. So this. There you go. See that?
Yeah,
See that?
he looks great.
No, wait. You said that he said it looks great. Hold on. That's Henry Cavill and Black Adam. Can you see properly?
Yes.
Right.
Yes, he looks great.
Good. No, all right. I got another one for you.
He looks great in all the fiction.
How's that
That's
one?
him right there. It looks great as well. It looks great all the way. All versions of Henry
No,
Cavill
no, no,
looks
no,
good.
no, no, man. You're not seeing the picture properly. Let me bring it up again. Bring it up closer.
It looks great, and Henry Cavill
Wait.
looks great.
My
That is
picture, the picture
Superman.
not coming out nice, man.
Yeah, but it
Listen,
looks
hold on.
great. I have
How
all
you
those
look
pictures
here?
in my DC
No,
album.
wait. No. I want you to see something. Is a significant difference, bro. All right, this one. What's this one? This one, same one.
This is Justice League. That was from Justice League theatrical, I think.
Well, it don't
Uh,
matter. This is the same suit as the black suit. Remember, it's just special
yes,
effects.
it's
So
red. It's
this
red
is
and
the
blue.
same suit.
No,
This
when
is
Henry Cavill
Zack
film it,
Snyder.
he film it.
Wait, this is
No,
Zack.
he film it
Just
in the
listen
red
to
and
me.
blue suit.
This is black. It don't matter. This is Zack Snyder directed Superman, right?
Yes, but he filmed in
That's
red
what
and
I'm
blue
trying to
suit,
say.
and then he changed to
No,
black when
no,
he
no.
when he when he when
It's
he
not
closed the
just
post.
listen. Leroy, would you listen? You're not listening.
All
This is
right.
not about red and blue suit. This is
Yeah, I know, but
about
he still looks great.
quality.
Yeah.
No. This is about quality. I'm trying to say.
Okay.
Look at this suit. It's red
Mm.
and blue, just like the other
Yeah.
suit.
But it looks good.
But it's not just good. This looks great. This
It
looks
looks great.
real.
Yes.
Look at his
Yes.
cape. Look at
Yes.
his outfit. Now you can't see the details. So what I'm gonna do, I wish I could show you the details because the details on the suit
Yeah,
is what makes this
I have
great.
all those photos on my DC albums on Facebook.
Small things, all things. Remember, he have the
Yes.
Kryptonian symbol and stuff marked in his suit. He's got all
Yes.
these Kryptonian designs in his suit. Now. Watch that Black Adam Superman. I'll move it back. I'm gonna show you again Henry Cavill Superman.
It looks good.
No, just don't. Watch Black Adam Superman. You see. Right. Henry Cavill. Look at Zack Snyder Superman. Go. I want you to see the
They both look
difference.
good. I don't see any difference. It's like it's still I see Henry Cavill.
No, bro. They don't look. They're not the same. Watch.
All right.
Come on, damn it. The fuck is?
But anyway, put it. Henry Cavill looks great no matter what.
Watch at the difference, man. Look at the difference. Look at the difference. Go back. There you go. See the difference? If you can't see the difference, then I can't help you. Because
No, but
what I'm trying to
they
show you.
both look
Wait,
good.
wait. Before you say anything, I just want to just make my point. The details
All right.
makes the difference. The quality makes the difference. When you
Okay.
see Superman in uh in Shazam, the first Shazam
Yeah.
movie,
Yeah.
was the suit identical to the suit you saw in
No, it's like
BVS?
different. No, it's like different because
Ah,
that's not Henry Cavill. That's not Henry
but
Cavill.
that's not
That's
the
a body
point.
double.
No, it's the suit. I talk about the suit.
No,
Remember?
it's
You remember?
slightly different. It's slightly
You
different.
remember? You remember the advertisement for the Justice League members that they had with
Yeah.
I think it was a meal or something,
Yeah.
where the little kids was walking out of the school and then they become the Justice League members.
Yeah.
You remember the suit they were wearing? The Superman suit?
Yeah. It's the red
That
and
is
blue
what
suit.
that is what your Shazam suit look like.
Oh. Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? Quality. The
Yeah.
quality of the
Quality, yeah.
materials is not the same, right?
Okay.
I'm not just talking about Zach knows how to allow the actors to have a certain posture and carry about themselves a certain way. And
Yeah.
Henry, obviously Zach wasn't directing Henry for that Black Adam moment. Because the way how Superman spoke to Black Adam, right? And the way how his cape was drooped, because the cape was drooped out this way now. He said he had the Man of Steel suit on, but his cape was out here, right? So
Yeah.
whereas BBS is closer in. But the point is, Superman looks regal. Superman carries himself like a king.
Oh.
Superman carries himself kind of like a king on earth. You ever notice how Zach allows Henry to conduct himself in his movies? Superman feels regal. Superman always feels like if he's royalty when you see
Oh,
him walking around, right? But when you
mm,
saw him in Black Adam, he just kind of came down. You could it felt like if he was coming down an elevator in Black
oh,
Adam. It didn't feel like you didn't hear that sonic boom, and then you didn't see him drop down.
oh,
Zach has those elements in there where you feel his power, but you still feel his regal nature and his diplomacy. Whereas in Black Adam, okay, Henry, you saw Henry come, you saw Black Adam destroy the thing that Waller
communicate back
was,
from machine, yeah. But I
yeah, the
wonder why I was
machine,
starting from. Yeah,
yeah. But you didn't hear Superman appear. You just saw him kind of come down.
he just
And
take time
to
come
me,
because he's powerful, yeah.
yeah. So what I'm saying is, there's elements to Superman that Zach gets, and these other guys, because of details. Zach is a detailed oriented person. So these guys
Mm,
miss all those details and they feel, oh, it's Superman. Just give it a guy with an S on his chest. And all the little details on Superman makes him grounded in a certain way. And Zach tries to almost make you believe that these fictitious characters are real people or really exist in your
mm,
world. You feel it.
mm,
Whereas
yeah,
in these other fictitious movies, they feel like a character being played in a movie. You see what I'm saying?
yeah,
That's why I said the SnyderVerse is relevance, and I really want to stress on relevance because you and I believe you're a Christian as well. You and I
yeah.
believe in the Most High, and you know that through His power, people get healed of illnesses.
Mm,
We've seen people. Um, I've seen somebody who had pancreatic cancer, which is worse cancer. My mother had cancer too; she died of pancreatic. I saw a lady
mm,
get healed of pancreatic cancer,
mm,
completely healed of a pancreatic. So I've seen these phenomena, and what Zach kind of does for me as a Christian is he kind of explains in a kind of way how it's possible for these miraculous phenomena to happen. Take for instance
mm,
when Superman goes to take off the fly, you see that gravity and all of the gravity changes so that things start to float
mm,
around him, right? Before he
yeah,
could propel himself up into space. And if you again,
mm,
as a Christian, I know Jesus went up into the clouds and Jesus walked on water. You get what I'm
yeah,
saying? So for
yeah,
me, when people talk about Superman, fictitiously, that's cool. But I also see how Zach is explaining these spiritual phenomenon, and I'm saying, look at that, the electromagnetic. Changing electromagnetic fields could cause somebody to levitate. And I know about people
yeah.
who used to drum on African drums and see people levitate off the ground, and it's a
Mm,
vibrational energy that could cause that to happen. So I see it as actually being a real thing. And I could see how a character like Superman, and now just of recent times, you heard people talking about how there's a informant who's now informing Congress in the United States that these extraterrestrial life, they have evidence of it and they've been doing it for 40 years now. They knew about all that
yeah,
stuff.
yeah,
So again, that element makes us think, oh wow, look how Zach was saying, what if there was an alien among us? Because he
mm,
described Superman as an alien. And when
yeah,
Zod came to Earth, he was describing Superman as an alien. And
yeah,
the military, which is a very interesting thing. Now we really starting to talk about the relevance of this. The military took that as a threat,
yeah.
right? And let me ask you this question, Leroy. Well, they're saying aliens exist, right? However you want to look at that. What does that make you feel in your mind? How do you feel about extraterrestrials being on this planet? I know you're a Christian, all of that, but still, thinking about just some other beings other than humans being and probably directing and probably giving information about things here on Earth, but they've been moving among us all the time. How do you feel
Yeah.
about that? How do you feel about that? What's your feelings?
It all depends on the situation. All depends on certain situation. Whether the aliens are good or bad. It all depends. You know what I
So
mean?
you cool with aliens being here?
I no, I don't think so. It all depends. It all depends. It all depends. You
All
understand?
right.
It all
So
depends.
suppose they've been here all the time, probably informing governments, and maybe you passing some of them all the time.
Yes,
Some
maybe.
that look like
Could be.
human beings, but they're
They look
aliens.
like
How do you feel
human.
about
Yeah.
that?
Well, as long as they don't do anything to me, they don't interfere with me.
So you cool with that?
Yeah.
All right. So
Yeah.
if I was to tell you that I met a half human, half demon,
Uh-huh.
how you feel? How you feel about that? Scare you?
Well, I'd be scared. I wouldn't go near that person.
Okay, okay. So you see, that's what I'm trying to say. So just imagine people, they don't know if Superman's for good or for bad. At the time, they didn't know him, like, they didn't even call him Superman, right? They just called him,
He
they
was
knew him
raised.
as
He was
Kal-El.
raised by Earthling. He was raised on Earth. He came on Earth and he was a baby, so he practically grew up on Earth and raised by good people. So
That don't mean nothing though. I'm talking about us. Like, okay, he might have been raised by some nice people and they know he's a nice person. We don't know that. The way how
okay,
he was
I would know
introduced to
that.
the world, the way how
I
he
would
was
know that.
introduced to the right, but the
I
way
would
how he was
know.
introduced, yeah, the way how he
Yeah.
was introduced to the world by his General Zod made
Yeah.
it sound like he was this terrible criminal, right?
Yeah.
Because
But he's
General
not.
Zod said, General Zod said, he will look like you, but he is not one of you.
Yeah.
Return this individual to my custody. Why is he saying return it to my custody? You know, he make it sound like, damn, this person wanted, like he's one of the most
Yeah, but
wanted list, but
but
he
he's
hiding
not
here.
wanted. Yeah, but no, he's a good man. He was raised by good people,
You
and
know
he
that
and he,
because
and
you
he,
know
and he
Superman.
practically saved he saved innocent people's lives. He saved people's lives. He saved lives, and
Yeah, but
people
point
just don't see it that
that
way.
but my point
He's
is
a hero.
nobody knew. If the first thing you hear about this character is an alien that broadcasted on every single channel, you can't avoid it on your phone everywhere. And this alien saying, listen, we looking for this individual. He's not human like you, right? We coming for him. And if you don't surrender him to us in 24 hours, then you will suffer. Brother, that's scary. That's
Yeah,
scary beyond, I'm telling you, that's scary. It's a very scary thought. So they obviously they want to cough him up, right? So I just thought that it's just interesting that that to me sounds very much like what would happen today if all of a sudden you hear an announcement, right? All on your radio, everywhere, TV, radio, everything, internet, everything just take over and just announcements start to happen like that. It would terrify people, bro.
yeah.
We would be scared stiff.
I wouldn't be terrified. If I know Superman, I know Superman, so I wouldn't be terrified.
No, but
I
suppose
know
it's not
Superman
Superman.
is
Let's just say an alien from wherever comes
yeah,
with a whole army is coming from wherever looking for an alien on Earth here
yeah.
and saying
That
we
would be
have
scary.
24 hours to find him.
Yeah, it would destroy
Bruh,
the whole world. The whole world will be
yeah,
destroyed
that's scary.
instantly.
That's very
Yeah,
scary. That's very
yeah,
scary. You know? So
yeah,
that's the story, and that's what makes it so interesting, and that's what kind of gripped me into the stories because they are stories that actually in some ways we're seeing this now kind of transpiring before us that there's these aliens. People always talk about UFO and all this stuff, and now we in oh, it's possible, there's aliens, they found some kind of extraterrestrial bodies and they have a ship and
yeah,
all kind of thing. So
yeah,
that's very interesting. We ain't
yeah.
really
Yeah,
nobody
but
really processing it too much, but
Man of Steel is a masterpiece. Man of Steel is very well made, and Zack Snyder got Superman right. So I don't care what people want to say. There will never be a Superman movie like Man of Steel. And what James Gunn do is not going to work. Sorry, James Gunn. What James Gunn plan is dead in the water. There's not going to be a
yeah,
Superman
because
movie like Man of Steel.
that's the thing. You see, a lot of these
Yeah,
directors don't understand when you try to make these fictitious worlds instead of what
yeah,
Zack did was why the Dark Knight and Batman Begins and the Dark Knight Rises worked was because Christopher Nolan grounded Batman into our world. And then
yeah,
David Goyer took that idea and he decided, I'm going to ground Superman into our world as well. And
yeah,
let's see what could happen with that. So, what happens is we had this fictitious character now presented with issues we are presented with. problems we are presented with, and therefore created a relevance to the character. It's not that Superman, the Henry Cavill Superman, is not much different from Christopher Reeve Superman. They're more or less the same Superman in terms of
Yeah.
character, in terms of aspirations,
Yeah.
etc. You know, that Superman. The
Yeah.
problem is, whereas Christopher Reeve Superman was dealing with a world in 1979 and 1978, all the way
1978.
up to
Yeah.
1984,
Yeah. Can you
this
hear me?
Superman dealing. Yes,
Can you
yes,
hear me?
yes.
You can
Yeah,
hear me? All right.
yeah.
All right.
This Superman is dealing with issues in our time,
Yeah.
right? And whereas back then people didn't know things and didn't have an internet and all of that to research things and
Yeah.
go and have their own theory and things and so on and
Yeah.
question authority, today that's how it is.
Yeah.
So that is why he showed how what Zack Snyder did is he showed how relevant Superman still is today and why the
Yeah.
character endures time, because the value that Superman has, it goes beyond time. It
Yeah.
keeps being the same. It's true for when helping people is always going to be a good thing.
Yeah.
Having a heart for people and choosing to help them is always going to be a good thing. And so this is what he was stressing on, but he was showing the complications of doing so,
Yeah.
the consequences of doing so. People are not necessarily going to embrace you and say, "Good job. Oh, you're my hero." They're not necessarily going to do that in this day and age. And we see it on Twitter, right? People doing
Yeah.
good things on Twitter and people take that and spin it and make it bad. That's what we call Snyder cultists. We ain't doing nothing bad. We're doing only things that are good. We raise money for people who want to commit suicide. We did so many good things, but yet at the same time, we label as
Sorry about
bad.
that.
You know what I'm saying? We label us
Yeah.
as negative and bad, and that is because,
Calling us
once
toxic
again,
and calling us names. Yeah, I know I'm no toxic fan. Those people are toxic.
right, right, exactly. All right, so we kind of touched on some of this stuff with SnyderVerse relevance, but the first thing I want to talk about here is in Man of Steel. So we start with Man of Steel.
Yeah.
One of the most beautiful things about Man of Steel is Man of Steel actually addresses the issue of bullying. Bullying.
Yeah.
And he addressed it in a very interesting way in a flashback scene. There's several scenes in Man of Steel where bullying
Yeah. When he was
happens.
younger. Yeah.
Yes. So we have the young boy who was intimidated. The fact that, you know, uh, Clark had saved the people in the bus. The boy wanted to
Yeah.
see if Clark had anything special about him, so he bullied Clark, pulled him out the car, and tried to beat him up. Then we had
Yeah.
another issue with the drunk truck driver
When he
who
was
was
big, yeah.
sexually harassing the lady, and then afterwards trying to
The
bully
bar.
the bigger Clark.
Car. Yeah.
And
And
then we
he
had
destroyed his truck. He destroyed his truck. I could have easily killed him right there. Could have easily killed him right there, so. But he destroyed his truck.
he had a lot of character. He didn't want to harm
Yeah.
him, but at the same
Yeah.
time, he knew that guy driving on the road drunk and carrying on another issue could be a problem. So he destroyed the truck. Yes.
Yeah.
Then you have the third issue of bullying, which is General Zod himself, who bullied both Jarrell and also Clark into trying to get his way. Right?
Yeah.
General Zod also went into Clark's head, and they went into Lewis' head to get information and see what they could do with
Yeah.
them. So we also had. We know that today we have cyberbullying. We see it all on Twitter everywhere.
Yeah.
People get victimized and picked on. We've seen presidents pick on citizens. You know, Donald Trump picking on citizens and bullying them,
Yeah.
trying to keep them in line. Other politicians
Some
bullying
idiots
other
trying to
politicians.
trying to scare me. But no, I let them know that don't scare me. They're trying to scare me and calling me names. Don't scare me.
That's bullying,
Yes,
cyberbullying.
don't scare me. Yeah, they don't scare me.
Yes, yes, very much so. So
Yeah.
we also saw General Zod bullying him and Fiora bullying Superman's mom.
Yeah.
So
And that makes
they're
that
not,
pisses off Superman. That makes Superman gets angry and fights out.
yeah, he don't like bullies. Don't like bullies at
Yeah.
all. So
Picked on his mom.
yeah, he lost it, man. He went full out.
Yeah. Yeah,
So we see these are relevant things today. So we see still people trying to bully other people. Even right now, the studio Warner Brothers is trying to bully us into
yeah.
watching their movies and making us
Well,
seem
that's
like we're
what,
villains,
yeah.
but we're not villains,
They're
right?
not villain. They are the villain. They are the one who ruined everything. They are the one showing the middle fingers us true fan, and it's a real shame. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Yeah,
So in Man of Steel, we had bullying, and what's interesting is after Man of Steel, we had a series of movies in Hollywood actually addressing the bully issue. So I thought that was really, really cool.
yeah,
And another thing that I thought was interesting is that, and it's something that Man of Steel really does a good job with. In Man of Steel, you remember this sentence: "People hate what they don't understand." I think the
yeah,
first person to tell young Clark that was his father, right? And
yeah,
you know, a lot of people focus on the controversial issue where Jonathan Kent, told his son, "Don't save me in the tornado," but they seem to ignore all the things Jonathan Kent was doing leading up to that moment, right? Which
yeah,
Superman also patterned himself after.
yeah,
Jonathan Kent showed himself to be Superman. He was running into the line of danger, saving all these people from the tornado,
yeah.
and he sprung into action and he was directing them away. And let me ask you this question: why do you think Jonathan Kent, instead of allowing Clark to go get the dog, went to get the dog himself? Why do you think he did that?
Because he wanted to protect Clark. He didn't want anyone to know that he has powers. He didn't want anyone to know that he has powers. That is why. That is why he stopped him from saving him. He didn't want anybody to live in fear. And he wanted to protect Martha Kent and him. If anybody wants to know that he has powers, they probably get after Martha Kent and get and he wouldn't live in private. He wouldn't live in peace. You know what I mean? So he was only protecting his son. That's
Okay,
how I see
well,
it.
I believe my take on it, that's an interesting take. My take on it is that Jonathan's nature was that he liked to help people and he couldn't resist helping.
Yeah,
And it's something that you heard Lewis Lane actually say about Clark as well. That Clark
yeah,
said, "Well, I will just disappear." And she said, "Well, you always go on and help people, and it's something you can't seem to help
yeah,
yourself with. You're always going
yeah,
on and help people." So I believe that Jonathan was on a roll. He helped all these
yeah,
people. Clark was out the way. Clark went back with his mother.
yeah.
So Jonathan was on a roll, and he felt, "Well, let me just finish this roll here. I'll get the dog. Don't worry. I'll handle
Yeah,
this one, Clark.
but
You
the
don't
thing
have to
is,
worry yourself."
he didn't want anybody to know that he has powers, that Clark has powers. He didn't want
I
people
don't
to
think.
see the
I don't think.
powers. That's the
I
thing.
don't think it was that deep. I think it was that he was in charge. He was in charge of the situation. He thought he could handle the situation, so he's going
Okay.
back for the dog because it was just to go back, open the door handle, let the dog out, and go back. He didn't expect a
Yeah.
car to come tumbling with the tornado. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. But
That's what kind of kept
he
him
could
back.
have easily allowed Clark to save him right there, but he stopped him. Remember when he told Liza
Right. You know that, but
to
that's
trust his
separate.
father?
That's separate
Yeah,
to him going back to save the dog. I just think he was
yeah,
on a roll because he helped all these
okay,
people get away. So he
yeah,
decided, all right, I can handle this one, Clark. Let me do this one. So he went because Clark was about to go. There's both of them was vying to save people. You could see the nature where Clark gets his helpful nature from because his father
yeah.
clearly the step.
But Clark could have easily saved him and the dog as well. But he did the main objective. He didn't want him
Well,
to know
he
that he
didn't
has
need to save.
powers.
He didn't need to save the dog because Jonathan did save the dog. This is the thing. Jonathan was
Yeah,
able to still get everybody out of there. It's just himself he couldn't save, right?
yeah,
And he got out of the car, so he was almost there. We could not run the
exactly.
tornado.
Yeah, and he
Yeah,
stopped his son from saving him.
yeah. Well, that point now I understood. I understood that he was protecting the son because he knew the ramifications of that. Again, what I like about Zack Snyder, again, very thoughtful, and David Goyer and all these the writers is they thought about consequence. His
Yeah,
father proved to be correct when it comes to consequence. Once Superman revealed himself to the world, you saw how much controversy that led to. As much as a lot of people thanked him for saving Metropolis, they built up a statue and thing, there was also a significant portion, though a minority, of people who, including Bruce Wayne, who
yeah,
saw him as a problem and saw him as their pain, right? So hated him. They didn't really like him. They hated him. So my point is that if he had saved his father at that point in time, with all those witnesses there and all the cameras
Yeah.
and
It
all
wouldn't
the
be
stuff,
safe. It wouldn't be
oh
safe
boy,
for it.
that would have been a totally different story. That story
Yeah.
would have gone south,
Yeah.
you know, because definitely the military would have picked him, and they would have get him, definitely. Because look what happened with Lewis Lane. They put Lewis Lane on blast. She remember she had let the she had, if she didn't give that article to the fella to broadcast on the internet, he'd have never known she knew who Clark was.
Yeah.
Within minutes of they announcing that thing on the TV, the FBI was behind her hard, and the
He
military
called,
was behind her
he
hard.
called their name. He
So
called their name and said
imagine,
that he knows. He knows about that's why they came after it. He like an idiot called their name with the blah blah
no, but
blah.
the point is, look how fast they reacted.
Yeah.
Look how fast they got onto that. So imagine Clark saved his father. That makes news
Yeah.
at whatever time.
Yeah.
And here comes the military. Them coming down
Yeah.
on him so hard.
Yeah.
So hard that would happen. You understand?
Martha can would be in danger. Martha can would be in danger. She would be in danger, and they don't want that.
And then on top of that, she probably would have they're taking him from her. They're taking him from her.
Yeah. She'll probably die from stress, from having danger and all of that. She probably
Yeah,
die already.
because boy, because you know the military will come with all their military might to try and take him
Yeah.
out.
Yeah.
So I mean that could have been a totally different story. So
Yeah.
he understood the gravity of the situation as he explained to the boy, and so he sacrificed himself.
Yeah.
Um, and it's interesting because he's telling this story to Lewis Lane, the same person who said, he's saying you can't hide her. Let me tell you a story. But if she tells his story, it could be again. But she did tell the story, and because of that, because she told the story, it's interesting because she she didn't keep him a secret. Remember, before she even met him,
Yeah, she never
she
mentioned him. She never mentioned his name. She never tell
well
anybody
no,
his
but
name. So she say a flying man. She say a alien, but she never mentioned his name and mention his name
but
to anybody. You understand?
she put out information. She shouldn't do that. So when she put out that information, that's how they were able to track her down because of the guy who she gave the
The
information
guy
to.
blah 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 with his mouth. Yeah.
Yeah. And they was
So
interrogating her.
she never
They
tell
were
the guy's name.
interrogating her.
She never tell the guy's name. Mention his name. You know what I mean? She never tell the guy's name. That's the thing. She did it smartly, but the guy rubbed his mouth.
Yeah. Because if it wasn't for that's why he trusts her so much because he realized she didn't spill the beans on him.
Right.
Because it was
Yeah.
touch and I tell you this story is touch and go when you think about it.
It's a great. You see, the Superman of Christopher Swan would work in today's standard. Henry Cavill, Superman works in today's standard, but idiots don't see it that way. You know what I mean?
And the thing about it is, what makes that so significant? Because Lewis Lane basically protected him. So where the father protected him, so she took his place. She took
Yeah.
his father's place in protecting him because if she had revealed his name, that's it.
Yeah,
The military.
he saved her from the Kryptonian robot. Kryptonian robot would have killed her, but he saved her from the robot. He hurt her, but he saved her from the robot and took care of her.
What robot is that?
The robot in the scout ship. The robot in the scout ship
Oh yeah,
attacked
yeah,
her
yeah,
and
yeah,
stopped
yeah,
the
right,
robot from attacking her.
right.
But he hurt her, she
That's
got hurt. But he used his heat vision and healed her and took care of her.
that's right. That's right. That's right. So he saved her first. Then
Yeah.
she came back and she protected him by saving him. She didn't
Yeah.
say who he
Yeah.
was.
That's how
Even though
he
she
got
did.
his scout ship. That's how he got there. That he met his father, the hologram of his father, and he got
Right.
put on his scout ship. Yeah.
You know what's
So
so cool about this thing? How this story was told and why it shows trust, right? So, for example,
yeah.
she hunted him down. She was able to, with her investigative
Reporter.
journalistic skills,
Yeah,
she was able to
yeah,
track him down and actually find him, right?
yeah.
Which is sick. I mean, this Lewis Lane was sick. This Lewis Lane actually could track down people. She gets the job done. She gets her story,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
But what was interesting is also that she tracked him down, and then after that, she decided to keep the whole thing. She just zipped everything. She just shut everything down. So she found out the truth, shut everything down. And in spite of being interrogated, remember the military was
yeah,
interrogating her.
yeah. And
She
then
told them nothing.
he decided to show himself. He decided to come to turn in himself. Then them
Yes,
handcuff. He's very cut of the handcuff, but he decided to turn himself because he wanted to get her out. And
right.
then the General Judge said that he's going to pick him up. You see the Martian Manhunter right here, General Swanwick. From right there,
Yeah,
he was the Martian Manhunter. I knew all
yeah,
along that he was the Martian Manhunter from that time. And he
yeah,
keeps denying it. He said all those years I was right. He was the Martian
yeah.
Manhunter at that time.
Yeah, so basically, xenophobia was a big issue. Um, right after Man of Steel, we had a lot of
Batman.
laws passed to keep immigrants out of America, and
Yeah,
they were talking about immigrants stealing American jobs and stuff. And so
yeah,
this xenophobia topic actually became a real issue in the real world.
yeah,
So just as how people were afraid that Superman would take over, or the military was kind of afraid as to what he was, and the military didn't really distinguish him from the other Kryptonians when they were
yeah,
fighting in Smallville. The man said, shoot all of them to kill,
yeah,
and they bust bullets on him and said, shoot him in the head. I said,
yeah,
wait. I said, all of that was so cool because it was like,
yeah, man.
wait, he take a bullet to the head, wow, you know?
Yeah.
And he said,
But the general,
wait.
he was a good guy because he practically saved the soldiers. He saved the soldiers from Kryptonians.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah,
He's not say he's not our enemy, he's our friend. I
yeah.
practically saved.
Well,
He's
this is the
like
same colonel that was calling him an alien. He turned around and called him a man. He said, this man is not our enemy. So that was crazy that he actually see him as a human being, than not an alien, because he's an alien. He really is an alien, you know, which I thought was a very important point as well. He's an immigrant alien that had to adjust to the climate, the environment of Earth.
on Earth. He was
I
raised
can't hear
by
you properly because the fan
oh,
cutting your voice for some reason.
sorry about that. Sorry about that. He
Yeah,
was raised by the kids, so he practically mastered his powers on Earth because he was on Earth long before the Kryptonians. So he mastered his X-ray vision and all that when he was
right.
small,
Yes.
and he was raised by good people, so he's
Yeah.
okay. Yeah,
He's not actually like a middle American good person. He's a country boy.
yeah,
He really
yeah,
is a country boy. Yeah.
yeah,
So what was cool about that is that you know this is an alien really. He's not an
yeah,
earthling. He looked like an earthling, but he's an alien. And he was
yeah,
socialized as a human, not but with precautions. His parents took a lot
yeah,
of precautions to protect him from,
yeah.
causing some accident or hurting. Like you saw the mother urgently ran to the school when she heard that, something was wrong with
He was
him.
just mastering his power, getting his X-ray vision and all that when he was small. Yeah,
Boy, that was
yeah,
another incident where everything could have go south in.
yeah. And you see the incident and the aisle well see when he saved the workers out of the oil tank and you see
The
him
oil
break
rig.
open the door with fire on him oil rig, yeah, that was a great scene as well. He showed himself
Yeah.
to the people to the man in the tank where he practically saved them
Oh yeah.
and the fire
But
don't
that's
do
all he
anything
do,
to him. Yeah,
If you look at Man
yeah,
of Steel, he's only saving people left, right, and center. He
yeah,
saved people in
yeah,
different ways. Like with the waitress
yeah,
lady, he saved her from being harassed. With the oil
yeah,
workers, he saved them from getting burned up and dead.
yeah,
With
yeah,
but the fisherman saved him. He with the school bus when he's reminiscing. He
when he
saved
was
all the
small, when
children
he
in the
was
bus
a
from
teenager,
drowning
yeah.
and the driver. He ain't
Yeah.
missed one either.
He took the bus out of the water.
Then
He took the bus out of the water. And Jonathan can say, what do I do? Let them die here, maybe, because he didn't want them to expose his powers. That's why he was trying to help
so
expose. He didn't want them to let
that's
them
what I
know,
was
yeah.
saying. If you look at his father, right?
He
People
told
only
them
look
his
at the
shit, he told them his
controversial
shit.
issues, like when he said maybe, or when he, tell Clark not to save him, right? But when you look in between, okay, so the father was also the one that revealed to him that he wasn't
Yeah.
human.
Yeah.
Because this is where the conversation really went into an interesting conversation. He's saying, "Why God do this to me?" He said. So he was saying, "Why is she afraid of me?" Because he was talking about the boy's mother who came and stuff, and she was afraid, and
Yeah,
saying
because
like, "Why is she
Pete Ross
afraid of
knew
me?"
him. Pete Ross, he was working in the library when he was fighting. He saw Pete Ross saw him because Pete Ross knew that he was Superman when he was fighting Fiora. He saw Pete Ross and Pete Ross saw him.
Right.
Pete Ross
Peter-
and Lana Lang remember him. So
yeah,
Pete
that was
Ross
a
know
great.
him.
That was
Pete Ross
actually
and
a
Lana
great
Lang knows
moment
him. Yeah,
when the
yeah,
eyes lock and Peter was watching
yeah,
at him like, "Clark," and Clark was watching
yeah,
at him like, "Yeah, Pete, yeah,
yeah. When they
Pete."
were fighting, yeah, yeah. They know
That
him.
actually was a funny moment in the movie because to
Yeah,
me, the
guys are
facial
fully grown
expression
man
was
now.
everything.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Pete Ross is a fully grown man like
Pete was
him,
hiding.
and he see him. Yeah,
Pete was hiding behind the table, and then Pete's
yeah, and
eyes open up
yeah,
wide, and
yeah. Because I saw
Clark look at
him.
him.
Yeah,
Clark look at him like, "Oh
yeah,
shucks."
yeah. And the father in the church knows that he is Superman as well. The father and the priest in the church knows that he is
Yeah,
Superman
that's the
as well.
same
Because he
bully.
can touch the priest. Yeah.
The priest in the church was the guy that bullied him. So when he
Yeah, it was
said,
the guy
"I'm the
that
one that,"
bullied him, the priest in the church. It was the guy that bullied him. That's the priest in
yes,
the church.
that's
Oh,
why Clark came in and started reminiscing. He was reminiscing about him bullying
yeah.
him,
Yeah, but
and
he's
so the
like, oh,
priest,
but he knows. The preacher knows he's Superman. He knows.
well, clearly, because
Yes,
when he told him that,
yes,
he said to them, the announcement where they're looking for this guy. I'm the one they're looking for, and the priest gulped.
yes,
So
yes,
all the suspicions, all the years that he was there with Clark and he bullied Clark to see if Clark would react or whatever, he realized
yeah.
now, oh shucks, this guy really was the dude. He really
And he
was
would
an
have killed
alien.
him. He
He
would
was
have
an
killed him
alien.
right there. Yeah. But
So
they
he's
kept it
like,
as a secret. They don't expose it to the world. They kept it as a secret. They kept it to themselves. They kept it as a secret. You know what I
well,
mean?
they
And live their
suspected.
life.
They could never really put their finger on it and say, okay, he's something. They knew something was
Yeah.
different with him, but they didn't really, they like couldn't put it. That's why he revealed to the priest this time who he really
Yeah.
is. And the
Yeah.
priest go, and then he started asking, well, you know why they're looking for you? You know? And
Yeah.
but it
Yeah.
was very cool because you didn't realize the bully was the priest, that he became a
No,
priest?
I didn't know it was a priest. I didn't know at all. I
Yeah,
didn't
that's the
know.
priest. Yeah. The
Okay.
bully was the
Okay.
priest. He became a priest.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So you see how people could change. That's what was so cool
Yeah.
about
People
this
can
movie.
change.
Showing that
Yeah.
the bully changed into a very considerate, thoughtful person offering his
Yeah.
services to mankind. And Clark
Yeah.
was going to this priest repeatedly. He knew the guy
Yeah.
was a bully once, but he see change, must see change, so he always going to him to get second
Yeah.
advice and counsel and things. So Clark was a
And yeah.
religious guy. Again,
Yeah.
makes sense because he was middle America, the church
Yes.
kind of
And
thing.
and
So
and look. Superman believes in God. Superman is fictional, but Superman believes in God.
yeah,
You know what I mean? He believes in God. This
absolutely.
guy who they cast as Superman, he's an atheist. He doesn't believe in God, so he should not be
Oh,
Superman. You know what I mean?
well, he's an actor, so it don't really matter.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people in Hollywood who don't believe in God, so it's not a
Yeah,
big
but
deal.
all actors who played Superman, they believe in God. So Superman believes in God. You know what I mean?
I mean, yeah, if maybe not. What I want to
Yeah,
say is this: that xenophobia was a big topic in Man of Steel, and it went
yeah,
on to become even a bigger topic in BVS. But
yeah.
also, besides that, I wanted to talk about. Oh no, I can't talk about that. I just wanted to
Do your
talk about
thing.
one more thing in BVS that I really enjoyed. You
Mm.
remember Louis Lane saying "Welcome to the Planet,"
Yeah, at the end of Man of Steel.
right? Which
Yeah,
is the
and
Daily
you
Planet,
see him wear
right?
his glasses. Yeah, put on his
Right,
glasses and on the bicycle. Yeah,
right. But if you think about it, she's also welcoming him to the world. And
Yeah.
why she's so fitting to say it is because this is somebody he learned he could trust. So
Yes.
he and her have this little secret, and they laugh and so he smiles. He
Yeah.
say, "Ah, witty, witty, witty." But
Yeah.
everybody else around them doesn't know that.
He's Superman. They don't know. They don't
Yeah,
recognize him.
to me that
They
is so
don't recognize
hilarious.
because they don't see his face near up. That's why they don't really show his face near up. That's why. You know what I mean? They don't see his
Right.
face really.
So I thought that's just hilarious. And of course,
Yeah.
Perry White has no idea,
Yeah, that
which
he's
is so funny.
Superman. Yeah.
And he's Superman.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
find that just funny.
It's good. I think it's good. It's really good.
But
That
then she
movie
would
is
know
good.
beyond a shadow of doubt because she knew from the beginning. But still, it's still
Yeah.
so funny to see them do that little banter thing. And
And
of
they
course,
end up living they end up living together in BVS. They don't end up living in the same apartment in
well,
BVS.
he came to the Daily Planet not just to like he told his mother to be there under the radar and thing, but also
Yeah.
he came there because of her, right? He came there
Yeah.
because of her, obviously. So
And all along, Martian Manhunter knows about him. Martian Manhunter pretending like the General Swanwick. He knows because he's a superhuman as well.
I think though he was figuring out if he could trust uh Superman. So
Yeah.
even you remember at the end of the movie where he
When
says
he
to
described his
him,
missile,
"I
the
guess you'll have to
missile.
trust me." Yeah, you just have to trust me,
Yeah.
and he
Yeah.
flies off, right? Because
Flies
General
off.
Swan is
Yeah.
still arguing with him and trying because he's trying to deliberate in his like, can I trust this guy? He just comes
Yeah.
clean out in the open and he's showing the powers and everything. I want him not
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
trust
Yeah.
because
And
he has similar powers. He's
yeah,
super
he was
strong. He could
also in
fly.
BBS all along. He was also
Yeah,
in BBS along too. But I knew all along he was Martian Manhunter. And I said it on Facebook. People laugh at me and tell me that, oh, I'm crazy, I'm paranoid, and I'm
right.
crazy. That's what they said to me, and I was right all along. Yeah,
So um, I thought that was very interesting because, like you said,
yeah,
at the end of at the end of the movie, you're seeing um, Martian Manhunter's trying to trust him now. So we have another alien. Remember, you thought
yeah.
Superman was the only
But
alien. No,
Martian Manhunter was
there's
on Earth
another
long
alien.
time. Martian Manhunter
Yeah,
was
been
Earth
there.
for a long, long time, perhaps
Yeah.
thousands, hundreds of years
So
in
what
his
I like
skies.
about that is they were in Man of Steel. We were thinking it was just one alien among them. And we know it could
Yeah,
Supergirl somewhere out there, right? But I mean,
yeah,
one alien among them, right? And then we come
yeah,
to find out all the way down in Zack Snyder Justice League, we get confirmation. Oh, it was more than one alien,
yeah.
right?
But look
For a
here,
fact,
but I find out that it's Martian Manhunter. When Man of Steel was being made, he was standing beside Zack Snyder in green motion capture. The same Harry Lennox there in green motion capture picture standing beside Zack Snyder in green
right,
motion capture. That's why I say he's Martian Manhunter. But Zack
right.
Snyder knew, but he kept it a secret all those years, and he himself knew Harry Lennox, but he denied it. Because he said Zack Snyder said wasn't saying anything. They was figure it out, but I figured it out from that time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because when Superman was approaching him after he just break the handcuffs easy, 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 and walk up to him,
Yeah,
he didn't
walk up in the
budge.
glass.
Yeah, he
Yeah,
didn't budge.
he looked at
He didn't
him.
budge.
Yes, because he know, but Superman didn't know that he was Martian Manhunter. But he knows because he was Martian Manhunter all along,
Yeah,
right there. You know what I mean? Yeah,
exactly. And
yeah.
obviously, the only thing Martial Manhunter is afraid of is fire. So other
Fire.
than that,
Yeah,
he
yeah,
have super strength, he have super speed, he could
yeah.
fly. You know, so
And he
he's
can
kind of like
change into
Superman,
anybody. And he has telepathic powers too. Martian
right?
Manhunter was powerful.
Right.
Yeah, yeah,
So I'm just saying. Um,
yeah.
going to BVS now. In BVS,
Ultimate
and
Edition.
so
Ultimate
Ultimate
Edition.
Edition. Yes,
Right.
Ultimate Edition. We're looking at something that was very touchy. Zack Snyder's view of the CIA. And of
Yeah.
course, we know that the writer who wrote this is Chris Terrio, rewrote it
Yeah.
from
It
David
begins.
Goyer.
It begins at the end of at the ending of Man of Steel when Superman was fighting
Yeah,
Zod.
but
Clark Kent was right. Bruce Wayne was right there underneath his nose. He was right there
yeah,
when he was fighting Zod.
yeah, all that's cool and all well, but we're talking
Yeah.
about relevance. So one of the
Yeah.
things that we noticed in BBS
BBS.
is how the CIA, because okay, so now we're getting a little political. So the United States of America is seen as a place where you have like the birth of democracy from France and
Yeah.
back in the day. Now America kind of takes that and we talk about democracy a lot. But what a lot of people don't realize is that the United States of America is becoming more and more a policed state, and something
Oh.
called the military complex runs
Oh.
America. So America actually runs
Mhm.
on wars, a lot of wars, so that and the military complex is such that they finance a lot of things in
Yeah.
Congress and so on. They have big lobbyists, and so actually America takes pride in its military. The CIA is called the Central Intelligence Agency, and the CIA gathers information for the military throughout the world.
Mhm.
All right. So the CIA has files on like right now
Everything.
where we're having this conversation right here. I'm pretty sure the CIA is getting some data on this as it streams. So
Yeah.
the CIA is involved in a lot of things. The FBI, which is the Federal Bureau of Investigation, they deal on local soil with American
Mhm.
citizens. But the CIA is global. They
Mhm.
gather intelligence for the military. Okay. And
Mhm.
why I speak about this is because how the CIA is portrayed in
BBS.
BBS is not in a manner that is stellar. Let's just say
Mhm.
that.
Yeah.
So the conduction of affairs and how they were monitoring this issue in Africa, Nairobi, Africa, is
Mhm.
very interesting. You know, when the agent didn't succeed in what he was doing, they were ready to bomb the whole place
Yeah.
and shelve the mission,
Yeah.
right? And that is so real. That actually does occur, right? And we've had
Mhm.
several instances where America has actually just gone into people's countries and taken people hostage and pull them out of the country and
Yeah.
say, and then, so it's a policed state now. America's becoming more and more police state, and not only that, but it's also considered the world's police.
Yeah.
And so it's done, America's done a lot of heinous crimes against humanity and against sovereignty of states in terms of what we call um, operations, ops. We call them
Operation Ops or what have you.
uh, uh,
DEA or what have you.
um, like undercover ops. I forgot the right
Oh.
correct word, but they do certain operations which are covert ops. That's what they call it, covert ops.
Covert
They
Ops.
do
Oh.
covert ops. They go in. Sometimes they assassinate people, all kinds of things. So it's terrible.
Oh. Mhm.
But Zack Snyder was able to highlight that. Now, why BVS is seen as a movie that's so terrible is because in Hollywood, the CIA funds.
Mhm.
They also fund film. They are one of
Mhm.
the sponsors for film in Hollywood. And so they kind of get a chance to see what is being put out there and sort of manipulate it and guide it. So
Mhm.
what really now is the executives of these Hollywood companies are corporations, and these corporations they are highly influenced, including news media, by the
Yeah.
way, are highly influenced by these intelligent agencies, and they have what we call um, they have people or infiltrators in uh, each area, whether it's in media, whether it's in
Yeah.
film, any area of entertainment, they have people who have infiltrated. They have their people in there, as do the FBI. But what is interesting is they call them informants. They have informants,
Yeah.
right? So Hollywood, why you see certain movies and why certain movies have, if you look at Marvel movies particularly, how it's except for the Winter Soldier, but the Winter Soldier, which was by the Russo brothers, by the way, still had positions and people uh, that were fictitious. Zack Snyder didn't
Yeah.
do that. In
Right.
BVS, he literally was calling names that we know, like CIA,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
carrying out CIA
And
operations.
it's way better than Captain America Civil War. BVS, way better than Captain America Civil War. Way better storyline.
Yes, yes, of course.
By far
Captain
from.
America Civil War was all about, it was pushing a different agenda. But the
Yeah.
point I'm making is this, that BVS was exposing the CIA in a very non flattering way. It was making them
Oh.
look bad. BVS was making the CIA look bad. So we they were like, Zack Snyder need to be on a leash. We need to put this guy on a leash.
Yeah.
But interestingly enough, in the Trump years and so on, we found out that the CIA was compromised some, and they've been carrying out political agendas and they've been carrying out other things. So you have to
Yeah.
understand that by Chris Terry actually writing about this, it actually foreshadowed what came after. And this is why I said relevance. You look at almost anything that these
Yeah.
guys put out. Now, I'm not saying it's only
Yeah.
Zack Snyder that does this, but
But other
I know
other
this.
people.
Yeah, they have other directors that do some things like this. But what I'm saying
Yeah.
is, this is a comic book movie, and we're talking
Yeah.
about political issues. This is a comic book
Because
movie.
because it's in the real world. It's a realistic storyline and it's properly made, properly balanced and properly made.
That is the point.
That's the
That is the
thing.
point, right?
That's the whole thing
When
that's
we
special about it.
when we looked at the fight between Zod and Superman particularly, nothing else, right?
Yeah.
Also the World Engine, right?
Yeah.
It reminded us of 9/11. I don't know where
Okay.
you were when the planes smashed into the buildings in 9/11 and the buildings started to come down.
Yeah.
And
I
they
was in
showed,
Jamaica here and I heard it. I was at work and I heard what was going on.
right, I saw
The
it on
World
TV
Trade
because I was
Center.
teaching.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was teaching in a school and I saw the planes slam into the buildings. And then
Yeah.
about an hour or so after the building started coming crashing down, people were screaming and you see people running away and it was
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah.
Well, Zack Snyder actually brought that element to Metropolis in Man of Steel, but we didn't see it like that in Man of Steel, even though we saw it to some degree from the roadside Man of Steel. But in BVS, we really got the
Yeah.
feeling of how horrific that was and how
Yeah.
heroic Bruce and the first responders were in those moments, right?
Yeah.
So we saw Bruce running into a falling building, running into while everybody else running away, he running into the falling building because he,
Yeah.
you know, Jack, who
Because
was in
it's
there.
Jack. Yeah.
Yes,
Because he didn't want to come out. He wanted to die, so he left himself, everybody, and he stayed in the building and he died in the building. When the building crushed,
well, it's
when the
just that he
man
couldn't
God was
escape. He couldn't
fighting.
escape in time, you know.
Yeah.
So
And in
and then
building, when that's when
he
God
was
and
on the
Superman was
floor above.
fighting.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
was in the floor
And
above
let
where
out his evil
Superman and
guy.
Zod was fighting.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, the point I'm making is that was a horrific thing that happened. And in the beginning
Mm-hmm.
of BVS, we were reminded of how horrific that was.
Mm-hmm.
9/11, right? So
Yeah.
what I'm saying is that this palpable relevance is what drives this movie. And the fact that they chose to look at that horrific incident and to
Yeah.
recapture it is to give us the gravity of how Batman felt, how
Yeah.
a lot of people after 9/11, a lot of people were against people who came from the Middle East.
Yeah.
We had
A
a
lot of them are terrorists. A lot of them are
tremendous
terrorists.
xenophobia for people in the Middle East. They were thinking they
Yeah.
terrorists, right?
Yeah.
And what was this thing that Bruce Wayne said to Alfred? When Alfred said, "He's not our enemy," he says, "Not today." He said,
Yeah.
but if there's a 1% chance that he could turn bad, we have to take that as an absolute certainty.
Yeah,
Which
what
is,
Alfred was right all along. He was not his enemy. He turned out he was a good man all the time, all
but
along.
that is the exact same words that um, Dick Cheney said
Yeah.
that validated the Gulf War. The Gulf
Oh.
War was built on the fear Americans had. And so George Bush went into the Gulf War and he attacked Saddam Hussein, who had nothing to do with 9/11, and invaded Iraq because his family had oil shares in the oil companies in Kuwait, which
Yeah.
Saddam Hussein had burned all the oil wells in Kuwait. So they decided to get vengeance on him, and that's why they attacked Iraq. Iraq had
Oh.
nothing to do with the Twin Towers falling down. The people,
Yeah. Yeah.
Osama bin Laden, was from
Yeah.
Saudi Arabia,
Yeah.
right? But
Mm-hmm.
by Dick Cheney using the fear of the American people, because they had code red, code orange, code all kind of things. He dealt with the fear of the people, and the people went to war in a war that had nothing to do with what happened with the terrorist act.
Yeah.
And they preemptively invaded Iraq and violated its sovereignty. And all I'm saying is this. I am saying that that is the same attitude and the same mindset that Bruce Wayne had with Superman. He was going to preemptively stop him, even though he did nothing wrong. He's going to preemptively stop him, kill him, to save the
Yeah.
world from him doing something horrendous. This was
Yeah.
the reasoning, right?
Yeah.
So you see how relevant it is. It's something that actually happened in life, actually happened
Yeah.
in our time, that Chris Terrio brought into this movie. And that's what I'm talking about when I talk about SnyderVerse and the relevance of the SnyderVerse. Because nobody's talking about this really, but I will talk about
Yeah.
it, that this is what makes these movies so real, right?
Yeah.
Because now you will say, well, little children, that'll go over their heads. And I'll say, yeah, but the parents could explain that to them. And two, this movie obviously wasn't made for solely for kids like the DC movies today, right? This movie was made with a lot of quality and care for
Yeah.
everybody at different levels.
Yeah.
So the adults, you get something. The kids, you get something. But of course, this version was rated R, so this is ready for adults.
Yeah. Yeah. Great
But
version.
nonetheless, I really enjoyed that movie because that movie had relevance to adult
Yeah.
people and to children too, but you'll have to go with supervision.
Yeah.
So the xenophobia led to preemptive strike, but in this case, it's not against a nation, which would hurt it, but against an individual. And this was edged on by the shadow government, which was in this case was Lex Luthor, which leads me to
Yeah.
another point. When we go to the when we go to Nairobi, where the rebel forces are fighting against the government of that African country, fictitious African country, we hear that when Louis Lane asks the Nairobi leader, so who is financing your campaign, your resistance? He says, well, who flies the planes that come over our heads, the drones?
Yeah.
What is he really saying? Because when you think about it, it was a
Yeah.
private contractor that was working with the Nairobi general, because he was a general.
Oh. Mm-hmm.
A private, it wasn't the American government,
Oh.
right?
Mm-hmm.
And the private contractor, as we learned in BBS from Secretary Swanwick, was LexCorp, right? Like you're going to sleep. You're going to sleep. All right, Leroy. Have sweet dreams.
Oh, well, it's okay. Sorry about
No, no, no.
that.
Sweet dreams. But here's my point. My point is
Yeah,
these experimental weapons that they were giving these rebels to fight the government with, just like
yeah,
how the United States of America is giving right now the Ukraine experimental weapons to fight
yeah,
against Russia with. You see the
yeah,
relevance now? You see the
yeah,
relevance?
yes.
They contract these things out through private companies. They don't, when
Oh,
they're going to do a covert ops, the government's not just going to directly supply Ukraine. No, they take a private company. They use the experiment. The military complex
yeah,
will supply private companies with weapons. All right, let me give you another
yeah,
example.
yeah,
So, do you really feel that Mr. Elon Musk, all of his
yeah.
inventions and things, you think that we are the first people to get his AI stuff, or we are the first people to get his Tesla technology with the cars, or you know? Do you think we are the first set of people to do that? Bringing it back in. Right.
Yeah.
You think we're the
No,
first
I
set of
don't.
people to do that?
No, I don't think so. I don't think so.
Who's the first set of people to benefit from these things?
I have no idea.
All right, I'll tell
Those.
you right now. The first set of people to use this tech when it first comes out is the
eh,
military.
the military. Okay, okay.
Yes. In fact,
The
we are
soldiers, the
10
military.
years behind. We are 10 years behind anything that the
Oh,
military has.
okay,
Civilians will
okay.
never get the most cutting edge stuff,
Oh,
right? So, what Mr.
yeah,
Elon Musk puts out there for you and me, and even the androids and stuff that they talk about,
yeah.
and the AI and all those things, guess what? The military have that answer.
I'm agree. Oh,
Yes. Right.
can you hear me?
So,
Can you hear me?
yes, I can see
Can
you, I
you hear
can
me?
hear you.
Yeah.
And I know the fan blowing in the background, but it's not deterring the sound too much.
Oh, yeah. The
So
fan. I turn it on, but I turn it down low. Yeah. I feel a little hot.
I same thing, but I just didn't turn on my fan. Otherwise, you hear same thing. But it's
But you
very
can
hot
hear me
tonight.
good though. You can hear me good though.
Very good,
All
very
right.
good.
Yeah.
So my point being that um, the military sublets some of its technology to
Oh,
some civilian contractor. In this case, Les Corp, which does experiments for the military and for the government, was allowed
oh,
to sublet certain weapons. And these weapons
yeah,
now will be used and tested in the war, the rebel war, right?
yeah,
And of course, the rebels will have to buy the weapons from them. So they make money off of that.
yeah,
So it's the same thing
yeah,
happening in Ukraine right now. They're using drones and using all kinds of technology to fight the Russians. See what I'm
yeah,
saying? So that's what's going on. Now, why I say that is because, once again, Zack Snyder is exposing in a comic book movie.
yeah,
You get what I'm saying?
yeah.
Operations, real stuff. This is real stuff that play out, but it's in a comic book movie. Now, when have you ever heard of a comic book movie do something like that? What comic book movie does that?
None,
None, right?
none.
So that was the advantage Zack Snyder had of grounding his movies into reality, and it brings a relevance because it gives us insight to how these, and that is why when Donald Trump came into power, he started throwing things upside down because he said, we can have these agencies doing this.
Yeah,
So, and they have tremendous lobbyists. Up to this day, they need to control how much power lobbyists have over Congress. That's why Congress can't get nothing done out there. That's a
yeah,
whole other story for another day. But we saw Congress also in BVS. Congress
yeah,
had these hearings on Superman, right?
yeah,
This is very interesting. So we actually had real people from Congress were in the movie, and we had real reason to have these congressional hearings, and it was very interesting and intriguing to see them simulate that as well. So
yeah,
unlike Civil War was trying something, right?
yeah,
But clearly they didn't know, because they didn't ground their thing in reality. Reality, it was it was But
Yeah,
with
yeah,
BVS was literally grounding it in a real hearings and how a hearing would be, and actually they repatterned the congressional hearing. This is actually
yeah,
how a congressional hearing looks. A certain they actually used replicated a certain area of the Congress in Washington D.C. I actually got to see Congress in Washington D.C. when I was over there, and it is very similar inside, yeah, to
yeah,
what you saw. You know,
yeah,
so it's very interesting. Um, but because he grounded in reality, we were able to see directly our world and therefore things operating in our world, and that brings forward relevance. So the other thing that I have here is that he exposed um, a certain tendency by people who have a
yeah,
certain degree of power, meaning, and in
yeah,
fact, there's BVS discussed a lot about power, right? But
yeah,
particularly the people who have major influence and power. So we saw Lex Luthor, we saw Senator Finch, we saw the other senators there with her. We also
the lady.
saw, yeah, Senator Finch was the lady. Yeah, we also and then the other senators with her. One of which he put a candy in his mouth. I forget what the guy's name is.
Yeah,
Corrupt.
he
That was a.
blackmailed him. Yeah,
That
he
was actually a
blackmailed.
Bailey, right? That's a corrupt
Lex,
senator.
but Lex Luthor was blackmailing him. Lex Luthor blackmailed him to do something for him, to do stuff for him. He
Yes,
was blackmailing him.
yes. And Cristerio actually, there's a significance to the
Yeah,
candies and why he shoved it in his mouth.
yeah. All of them got killed in the state cap in the capital. The capital, they got
In
killed.
the
'Cause Lex
bombing,
Luthor
yeah.
in the
Yeah,
capital in the wheelchair.
right. But primarily, if you look at the people with influence, when they feel the power structure being threatened, they're the ones that
Yeah,
respond. So you'd have Senator Finch and all the senators were part of the congressional or government arm. You look at Lex
yeah,
Luthor, he also responded. He was a very influential business person. You look at Bruce Wayne. Bruce Wayne responded. Again, Bruce Wayne was again another very
and
influential
Lex Luthor
corporate
knows
person.
all their secrets, know all their identity and everybody. Lex Luthor knows all their identity, knows Superman's identity and Bruce Wayne's identity, knows all of them identities.
Right.
So he
But
manipulates.
the point I'm making though is that Lex Luthor, the congressional people, and Bruce Wayne have something in common. They are all responsible for a whole set of people, and they Bruce Wayne and Lex Luthor are corporate heads of corporations, like David Zaslav's the head of Warner Brothers, like Elon Musk is the head of SpaceX and
X, but
X,
no, it's no called X, Twitter
and
no called X. Yeah,
right, and Tesla and so on, right?
yeah,
Um, these people are the people who are most affected in a negative way by
yeah,
someone who's just an average Joe who melts into society and then comes and just shakes up the whole structure. So Superman shook up the whole structure.
yeah,
And so these people have certain laws. They're the ones that the lawmakers, so the congressional people are the lawmakers, they can establish law. So they would feel, hey, you're violating people's sovereignty in the individual spaces. Well, you're not talking to nobody, you're not
yeah,
coordinating with nobody. So that was Senator Finch's that's how she felt offended. And then with Lex Luthor, Superman was messing up his businesses.
yeah,
He was a very influential philanthropist and so on. He was the focus of attention was removed from him. And then Superman seemed to be, someone who people are won over to, and he wanted the attention. So Lex Luthor felt offended, right? And
yeah,
he's probably seeing some of his business going down the drain because Superman just rectifying the situation and taking away business from him, right?
yeah,
With Bruce Wayne, it was personal. It was constantly he losing people he loved. He lost people he loved. He blamed Superman for it. He probably even thinks Superman was the cause of the building going down and killing his family. So he took it personally, because it literally affected him and his corporation and he had love for his corporation. It affected him personally, right? So all
Yeah.
of these highly influential people were the people that Superman was seen as a threat to the people. Now, one or two people from the average person also saw him as a threat. You know, Wally was a guy who lost his legs.
Yeah.
Blame Superman for that. You know, but by and large, most people loved Superman, right? And you
Yeah.
saw it with the firefighters, you saw it with the single mother and her child, and so on. They and also the single mother and her child also defended Batman. She was like, "Nah, he ain't gonna just murder any old person or kill any old person. The people
Yeah.
who he messing up real bad, they deserve it." Right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
she defended him. But the point is, by and large, Superman was loved by everybody, right? By
Yeah.
and large, the people of Gotham like Batman. He used to do things that they couldn't get to do. But
Yeah.
you had the people of influence mostly who were offended, and then they would circulate rumors, like Lex Luthor would circulate lies and circulate rumors and have people lie to make Superman look bad and to make people turn against him, right? And we
Yeah.
saw that with, particularly in Warner Brothers, we saw it with Jeff Johns and Zack Snyder, right? We saw him
Yeah.
turn executives against Zack Snyder and so on, and worm his way around. So we see that people with power and influence tend to be the people who are most affected by someone who's shaking up the system. Generally, the people who benefit from him shaking up the system don't turn against him unless influenced by people of power and influence.
Yeah.
So I thought this was a very interesting dynamic that BVS was showing, and again, very relevant because I've been down that road myself. I've shaken up some things, and people turned against me, man. And always the
Yeah.
people of influence and power sick, start to create rumors and create lies about you and
Yeah.
try to
And
get you.
and anybody who allows people to turn them against you, they are not your friends from the beginning.
True.
They're not your friend. They are your enemies all along. You understand?
That's right.
Like with Bella Reeve
Absolutely.
now. She allowed her she have friends who are bad people, and she allowed her friend to turn against me. You know what I mean? And she wasn't
There you
against
go.
me. Yeah.
There you go.
But I got out of my head long ago. But she have friends who are bad people. You understand?
And so the story of Superman is again very relevant because we've experienced
Yeah.
it. We've lived it.
Yeah.
We've lived it. And
I'm quite okay.
this is the thing about Superman that I like and I can identify with. Because in the real world, everybody ain't worshiping Superman. Everybody ain't
Yeah.
loving Superman. Superman is
Right.
seen as a threat by some people, and they try to make up lies and they try to turn people against Superman. And they
Yeah.
succeed to some degree,
I mean,
you know?
he's a hero. He saved lives. He saved a lot of lives.
And notice that these people of influence manipulate the media. And that's why I was saying, the
Yeah.
military complex, they manipulate the media. There are people in media, there are people in entertainment, and they are able to
Yeah.
manipulate situations. Sometimes, if you look at even Warner Brothers will use certain trades, right?
Yeah.
And they will
Yeah.
manipulate situations and they lie about Zack Snyder and they lie about this and they lie about that.
I
And
about
same
that. Yeah.
thing. So
Yeah.
BVS literally showed us all of this, and I thought this was just great because I don't think
Yeah.
any other comic book movie has done anything even close to this, right? Um, the other thing is, so Senator Finch had a point where instead of having unilateral action, which is more like a dictatorial kind of thing, which reminds us of where the roots of Superman kind of came from to some degree.
Yeah.
Superman in the 1930s and the 1940s
Yeah.
was seen as a dictator, someone who was kind of Gestapo, meaning the word I'm
He
looking
killed in
for.
those, he killed bad guys in those times. He killed bad guys, threw them off the building
Yep,
in
yep.
those times.
They called him Uberman. Uberman, right?
Yeah.
Uberman is the German for super, peak humanity, peak this. And
Yeah.
in the 30s and 40s, if you do recall, late 30s, 40s, this was just right after the Nazi war.
Yeah.
So Superman came as a sort of propaganda tool, but not really, by the two guys, Schuster and what's the other
Jersey.
guy? Siegel, yes, Siegel and Schuster. And yes, good.
Jerry
You
Siegel
see
and
that?
Joe Schuster.
Yes, but they were Jewish guys.
Yeah,
But you know, the methods that Superman was using, he wasn't directly dealing with Nazis. He did deal with one or two Nazis, I think, but the methods that he was using was very again, it's so weird. You know, they talk about Batman being a fascist and Superman being like a tyrant. That's what they used to
yeah,
say. At a certain
yeah,
point, the parents was like, "We don't want our children to be a tyrant, and Batman's a
yeah.
fascist."
That's why the common school authority code authority comes in because the
Right,
dictator the way call it now the some guy talked about them killing people. That's why they kind of tone it down.
right,
You understand?
because it was more gangster mobster kind of movements. But what
Yeah,
happened is that in this movie, BVS, it addressed it
yeah,
because what it did is it said Superman can't just go willy nilly all over the world with that kind of power, you know. And then they were debating whether we should be able to tell Superman what to do or if Superman should just be able to do what he want to do. But Senator
yeah,
Finch was like, "Hey, Superman can't just willy nilly do whatever. There's governments in place. There's people. You know, you need to at least
yeah,
consult." So she was talking about multilateral action versus unilateral action, and multilateral dialogue versus unilateral movement.
yeah,
Meaning, again, all of this came off of the Gulf War. The Gulf War, America was just going to go in and fight the Gulf War for itself. Then they said, no, that
yeah,
doesn't look good. You know, talk to the United Nations. And the United Nations, most countries didn't agree with America. But Australia and America, and Australia, England, and I think France went with them, right? The point anyway I'm making is that unilateral action in the world today is terrible. If you start to do things unilaterally, they think, oh, there's another Hitler boy, another Napoleon boy, just like you're trying to take over the world. So just imagine Superman doing these things in the world, no checks, no balances. Because remember in Man of Steel, at the end of Man of Steel, he was like, "You can't control me, and you never
yeah.
will." He told
Right,
that straight,
right.
right? So if
Yeah,
he's telling them that, that's not cool. We don't know
yeah.
what you could do. What happens if you turn bad or
And
whatever?
he practically saved Lex Luthor from Doomsday because Doomsday almost killed him, and he practically saved Lex Luthor from Doomsday at the end there.
Right. And again,
Yeah,
I don't have a problem with that. But here's my problem. When somebody comes to your face, this is military general, right? Swanwick,
yeah,
right? And he says, you can't control. Let's put our cards on the table.
yeah.
He break the handcuffs without effort, right?
Well,
He walks up
yeah,
to General Swanswick and he says, you can't control me, and you never will. Dude,
right.
that is savage. That
Yeah,
is savage.
yeah.
Then he said, but I'm not the problem, I'm not the one you should be worrying about. And the guy says,
It's General
Zod, he said,
asked him
yeah,
to care. Yeah.
that's the one I'm worried about.
Was it
So,
Marshall Manhunter there talking? Was it
but
Marshall
my,
Manhunter there talking? Yeah.
I
Sorry.
know, I
Yeah.
know. But
Yeah.
my point is this. My point is this. General Senator Finch had a problem with that, and
Yeah.
rightfully so, because he's saying you can't control me and you never will. That's not a good thing to hear. It's not that you want to control him, but it's just that, hey, what if you lose your handle, decide to go mad for whatever reason? How are we gonna stop you? You get
Yeah.
what I'm saying? So that's where the
Yeah.
problem comes in. So she was saying, in our society with our rules, if you want to abide by our rules, you need to consult. You need to speak to people. You need to dialogue with people
What
before you
caused
go
it?
and do.
The Dark Red told a lie that he killed the soldiers, and he did not kill the soldiers in the Middle East there with lies. It was Lex Luthor's henchman that killed the soldiers. Superman did
But
not kill anybody here.
here's my
He
point, and this
he
is what.
practically saved lives there.
But wait, here's my point though. The point that is to be made is this: Senator Finch knew about it because the lady confessed to her that she lied.
Eventually.
Right. So when she was in the tribunal, before she started her truth message, this is the day for truth, she first scolded Superman for moving unilaterally, saying that there's consequences to that. In other words, what she's saying is keep us in the loop. Let Congress and they at least know what it is you're about to do. Don't just do things by and off this spur of the moment. So she
I,
was,
I,
if he had let them know that he was going to Nairobi to do X, Y, and Z, this wouldn't be an issue right now.
yeah.
You see
And
what I'm saying?
she realized that there was a bomb
Yeah,
in
yeah.
the
In the congressional hearing. Yeah, yeah. But she
and
realized
everyone
it's too late.
too late, and Superman was there. But not the the Superman. He got the injured out and helped the people him and eventually flew away. And they
Yeah, but
started saying
he
that
see that's you actually make a great point there. See, Superman, he did help the people out.
yes, he helped
But
people
here's the
out,
thing. When you saw him look at Lewis,
and then he
and you
flew
could
away.
see he was very depressed. And why was he very depressed?
Yeah,
He's very depressed because he made the effort
yes,
to go to the hearing. He was doing everything as best as he could the right way, and he still
and the guy,
missed. He missed
yeah.
that the guy was there with a detonated bomb. He didn't see
Yeah,
it at all.
because he lined it with lead. He couldn't see he lined it with lead. He lined the wheelchair
But
with lead, so he couldn't see
the whole point of
the
being
shooter.
Superman was to be able to deal with these situations. So he couldn't understand
Yeah,
how he couldn't deal with that situation and stop it.
yeah,
It was
yeah,
right there, but he couldn't stop it. And Louis Lane didn't have the answer for him at the time, but she discovered it because he couldn't see through lead. He didn't know
yeah,
that, right?
yeah,
But the point behind it is now Zach is actually and Chris Terrio and David Goyer, they're actually commenting on what makes a hero. Meaning sometimes things are out of your control.
yeah,
And you may beat yourself over the head. Like for instance, with my mom. My mom died. I had to know how to keep her alive, but certain situations made it such that I couldn't go beyond her choice. She chose to go the direction she wanted to go. I couldn't do anything about that,
yeah,
right? Now I
yeah,
could beat myself over the head like Superman beat himself over the head, saying, oh man, I could have done more, I could have done something. But you couldn't
yeah,
do anything about it, right? The person already made their choice. You can't go against their choice. So
yeah,
similarly with him, it was a situation where he couldn't do anything about it. As much as he was so powerful and everything, there was limits to him. The limit is he can't see through lead. There was nothing he could do about that. He didn't know that. Sometimes you could beat yourself over the head, or you could sit
yeah,
down and think through the situation. Maybe even go through your feelings, like what he did. He
yeah.
kind of went off to kind of spend some time with himself and go through his
In
thoughts.
and talk to John Kent, talk to John Kent in his mind. John Kent appeared in front of him when he
Right,
was there. Yeah,
right.
in the
So
snow.
now, wow, this is so deep because Lewis had replaced Jonathan Kent. Remember, she replaced him by winning over his trust, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Because he told her the story of how his father protected him, and then she chose to take up that mantle that the father had, and she chose not to say anything about him either and protect him,
yeah,
right? So she was in place of Jonathan Kent. He kind of hung on to her until that moment, and then he went reverted back to the traveling guy who never stayed in one place, and he just went
yeah,
off traveling, and he climbed up the highest mountain he could think about, and he had the top of the mountain there, and
yeah,
he meditating and thinking about what's happening, right? So he
yeah,
had to go into his head and find his father and listen to him talk, which is very interesting to me because this is the same guy he's saying the farmer from Kansas is just a dream of a farmer from Kansas, right? You remember that?
yeah,
And now he turns around and he goes back to the farmer from Kansas.
yeah.
you know?
Can you hear
So I
me?
thought it was pretty interesting.
Can you hear
Um,
me?
yes, I can.
Yeah,
So like for me, that was a psychological thing. It's like you try to go back to
yeah,
somewhere that's familiar to you and you try to recap things. So sometimes certain things from my mom I remember, and that helps me
yeah,
to stay grounded and focus on what I'm doing. And it's the same thing with him. And I thought, it's so like Zack Snyder does something that's pretty interesting, which is DC like, where you sometimes talking to dead people, right? But what I thought
yeah,
was interesting about it was how they framed it, meaning it wasn't so much that it was a real person he was talking to. Clearly, he wasn't talking to a real person.
It was in his mind. It was just in his
Yeah,
mind.
it was in his mind. But what I find is how Zach kind of framed that, in that you see him on this mountain, you're seeing his father stacking these stones when it's really him stacking the stones,
Mm.
and you know it builds up this little like a little, he's stacking like this in remembrance mural. It's like an in remembrance thing, right?
Yeah.
With all the sticks. So it's like a point where,
Yeah.
and this reminds me of something from the Bible where uh when what's his name? Jacob
Jesus.
wrestled with the, no, Jacob wrestled with the
Jacob.
angel, and then he made a memorial to the place. He piled up a whole set of stones in that area
Yeah.
to remember the area, and he called it a certain name. And similarly, there at this point, this pivotal point in his life, he piling up these stones, which I thought was so
Oh.
biblical. I was like, wow, look at that. I can
Yeah.
see this mirror, thing here. And why you stack stones is because you're building on a foundation curve, like so. He's going back
Yeah.
into his past to sort of find the answer and build on that. And that's what happened. He was able to realize, oh shucks, I don't need to go back to my dad. I have
Mhm.
my dad already, Louis Lane.
Yeah.
She replaced him. And in his psychological working out of the situation where he's talking to his dad refocuses him in to Lewis. He gets him to go back to her. So
Yeah.
he left her, but then he psychologically recalculates and realized, oh shucks, I need to go back to her. She's the one that trusts me. I'm the one that trusts her.
And he
She's
went back
telling
and
me
saved
to,
her. And he went
and
back and
she's
saved
telling me
her.
she's telling me stuff to protect me, and she's also telling me stuff that's right.
Yeah.
Hope is really the thing, and I
Yeah.
am really that symbol. So he kind of like starts to believe in what um believe in what she was saying before, because he wasn't listening to her really. He was still
Yeah.
all in his feelings and stuff. And then she, and so that's why she said you came back when, you know, when Black
Back and
Sister
saved
threw up.
her from the shooter. Yeah.
Right. So it's like a love story kind of. It's not a romantic love story per se, but it's a love story still. But it's you can see the love story beginning from Man of Steel, and it's going all the way into BVS, and then it ends for now in Zack Snyder's Justice League. Because if you watch the story, she again saves him, carries him back to his home, and again he has to
Yeah.
do a remembrance. So it's
Yeah.
always this remembrance thing happening over and over and over, where he has to
Yeah.
recenter himself. So we see it again, and I guess we will see it again in Zack Snyder Justice League 2, and then in 3. You
That's
know.
if it's ever be going to be made. If it's not ever going to be made at all, what the strike going on and all going on now.
No, but the cool thing about it, what I'm trying to say is, she centers him. She really
Oh.
is that center. She replaces that. She really did replace his dad, because
Okay.
his father really believed in him. And it's like his mother said, his father saw the day when he would become Superman. She saw it already. He saw it
Yeah.
already. And now
Yeah.
she took over his mantle. Lewis took over Jonathan's mantle. And Lewis right
Okay.
now believes in what Clark really represents, and how much he means. She could see it, right? She understands it. So she's that one that constantly centers him. And sometimes he has to kind of reflect, go back and reflect and come forward. Kind of like how she just all she did was call out to him, and he responded immediately in Zack Snyder's Justice League. Like nobody else could do that. It was only
Yeah.
her. Wonder Woman couldn't do it. None of them. But as soon as she came on the scene, the connection was so strong. He
Yeah.
responded
Come back
immediately
to say. Yeah. Yeah.
because he
Yeah.
trusts her. He trusts
Yeah.
her. He really trusts her. So that's
That
why
was good. That was really good. Yeah. Yeah.
So that's why I said it's a thread running all the way from Man of Steel. From the beginning of Man of Steel, it build, and it's built to this point now in Zack Snyder's Justice League. At the end is like he's happy, and notice it. The movie ends with him being at the house. She's going inside with the baby stuff and all of that. Again, you see, his life is really built around her. Really built
Yeah.
around her.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I thought it was just very interesting as well. And again, these stuff to me, this is like real life stuff. That's like, talking to married couples, you'll hear them talk about, yes, this person, so important to me. And you listen, Denzel Washington was talking about how his wife dead now, but his wife was pivotal in his career and how he used to listen to her a lot. And it's the
Then
same thing with
Washington
Clark.
wife died. Then Washington
Yeah,
wife died. Died
yeah,
in real life. When?
yeah.
When she died?
She died probably last year or the year before.
I didn't know.
Yeah, they
Oh,
didn't they
I
didn't,
didn't
they
know
didn't
at
make it
all.
public. They didn't make it
Oh,
public.
I didn't know. I didn't know
He
at
was doing
all.
an award ceremony. He was talking about, the pinnacle of a thing
Eh.
and so on. Yeah, she died.
Oh, okay, okay. I didn't know.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But
Okay.
point I'm making is in families, there's always somebody in the family that keeps the family centered.
Oh,
In
mhm.
almost every family, it's like that. Somebody who has to stay calm or pray or, can keep the family moving forward. And so you see with
Yeah.
Lois Lane and Clark, you can see she's the one that kind of keeps him even keel. Even when we look at Superman 1970, what is it, 879, when Lewis
1978.
dies,
Sorry.
yeah, when
He's
Lewis
still down
dies,
in agony. Yeah,
Clark loses his mind, right? He goes
yeah.
nuts. So
And
you
he
could,
travel back in time and reverse the Earth, travel at the speed of light and reverse time to save her.
you understand what I'm
And
saying?
his father said, no, he for him to interview human history, but he did go ahead and save her.
Yep. So that's what I'm trying to say. No, there was no consequence to him reversing time, but the point is
Yeah,
that it drove him to the extent that he speed back, he turned back
yeah.
the world just to get
Turn back the
her
world to
back
save
alive,
her.
right?
Yeah,
And in Man of Steel, it makes sense, and then BVS, it makes sense how important she is to him, and even in Zack Snyder Justice League. So if she dies, bro, yeah, that ain't gonna be good.
yeah. That's what that's what Zack Snyder did. Let her got killed and he became Rogue. But many
Yeah.
people were against Zack Snyder for that. They didn't want Zack Snyder to do that. They were said Zack Snyder was wrong to do that.
Which is the best part about deconstructing heroes, because what Zack Snyder did is show the limits to Superman. See, he has limits. So one, we know about the physical limit; he can't see through lead, and he brought that situation forward. But he's also
Yeah,
talking about the emotional situation. There's certain people in his life, if you harm them, he's going to trip off. If you harm Lewis, he's going to lose it. If you harm his mother, he's going to lose it. Right? We
yeah.
saw it in Man of Steel. And these were things, buttons he was pressing. He's saying, okay, where's the limit to the Superman? Where's the limit to Superman? Okay, let's
Yeah, but
press that button.
that was too dark. They didn't want that. It was too dark. The fan base were divided over that.
It was controversial,
Like the
yes. But what I liked
1989.
about it is we learn what the limits of Batman is. We learn what the limits of Superman is. And what I love about it is if you rarely read comic books, you're going to see that the comic book writers comment on these things. With Batman, we know his limit.
Yeah,
We saw in Batman, in Death in the Family, and Tim Drake was the guy that had to keep him in balance. If it wasn't for Tim Drake and even Superman stepping in, he would have killed the Joker. And if Tim
yeah,
Drake didn't come to balance him out after all of that thing with the death of Robin, he would have lost it because he was getting more sloppy. He was more brutal, and it's because of
yeah.
Tim Drake that he started to balance back out,
And,
right?
and his son came along, Damian Wayne came along and became the new Robin, came along
Right.
after Batman's son.
That's after Tim Drake, right? So what
Yeah.
I'm saying is that, and of course, the other Robin became Nightwing, right?
Dick Grayson, yeah,
Dick
yeah,
Grayson, yeah. But
yeah.
in this version, with Zack Snyder version, Dick Grayson gets killed.
Dick Grayson gets killed. And that's the thing. Many people didn't agree with that. That he killed off Dick Grayson. That's the thing. Many people never agree with that. For him
I
killing
don't
off
think
Dick Grayson.
there was never there was never a Jason Todd. It doesn't seem as
Yeah,
though there was ever a Jason Todd in his
yeah. But
universe.
this
But
time
it
was the
seems as
one
though,
who was killed, who got killed. But he eventually became Redwood because his body put into the Lazarus pit and he
well, it
became
don't seem as
Redwood.
though they don't have no Jason Todd. and no
Yeah.
redhead.
But in the comics, Jason
And
has
there's no Nightwing
became
in
Red
Zack
Hood.
Snyder's Snyderverse.
Yeah.
But
But
there may
but
be
Zack
a
Snyder
Carrie.
introduced
What's her name? Carrie.
who? Kelly. That's she was Robin in the Dark Knight Returns.
Right. I
Carrie
believe
Kelly.
there's a Ca-
Yeah.
uh, uh, uh,
Carrie Kelly.
Cara Kelly.
Carrie Kelly. She named Carrie
Carrie
Kelly.
Kelly. Yes.
That's
Cara
Robin in the
Kelly.
Dark Knight. In the Dark Knight Returns storyline. Yeah.
I believe there's a Cara Kelly, but I think she gets killed.
Yeah. But Zack Snyder should introduce a bad family. Zack Snyder should do it the other way. You know what I mean? He should introduce a bad family like his son Damian Wayne and
I
introduce John
think
Kent as Romance.
maybe in
He should
another
have.
version, but I don't think he's doing it in this universe because he killed off
No,
the
but
Grayson.
he wrote more than one script. You know, he wrote around 5 or 6 or 7 scripts, different
But he
scripts.
already
So
killed Dick Grayson.
yeah, but one of the scripts, I think Dick Grayson was alive. One of the scripts, but he should do it. He should do it true way. You know what I mean? He shouldn't allow Dick
What I
Grayson to
want to
die.
see, I want to see, because Alfred got killed. Alfred
Yeah,
dies. Alfred
that died
dies in,
in the
uh,
Batman storyline. He was killed
yeah,
by
in the
Bane.
back. Yeah.
Yeah, it was dark. Yeah,
No, no, no. I'm saying he kills in Ben Affleck's Batman movie.
yeah. He was
Alfred
killed by no.
Deathstroke kills him.
Alfred got killed by Deathstroke
Yeah.
in the Ben Affleck Batman movie. Yeah.
Yep. Yep. And Alfred is one of my favorite characters. I would
Yeah,
not want
but
to see that.
I don't think they should kill off Alfred though. They should let
They
Alfred
go
be
kill
alive.
him. They'll kill him in
Yeah.
that movie. Deathstroke ain't playing in that movie. Deathstroke
Yeah,
gonna
but
kill some
look
people.
about Zack Snyder. He killed off too much of the vital character. You know, he killed off Jimmy Olsen. You know what I mean? That's the thing. He should he
That
should do
wasn't
that.
Jimmy Olsen. That wasn't Jimmy. That was a CIA agent.
Yeah,
Code
it was Jimmy
name.
Olsen.
Nah,
It
he
was
was
Jimmy Olsen. Jimmy Olsen
nah.
ran the comic. But he shouldn't kill off the main character. That's the thing about Zack. He should
That's
keep him
not really
alive.
Jimmy Olsen though. That's what I'm saying. Zack Snyder
Oh,
said
okay.
that Jimmy Olsen didn't exist in that universe.
Okay.
That was just a like a cover name because
Okay.
the agent was called by what he's called the CIA was calling him the what, I forgot what they call it.
Yeah, but he
It's
said his name
calling
was
him,
Jimmy Olsen. So I don't know.
that's not
Don't
his
know.
real name. That wasn't his real name.
Okay. Okay.
That's just a name.
All right.
But that's not the real Jimmy Olsen. I don't know if the real Jimmy Olsen exists in that universe.
Okay.
Here's a couple other things I wanted to say, because I know we're on 2 hours already, and I know you really definitely need to sleep. Um, right. So one of the things I was looking at here is
Yeah.
Wonder Woman 2017. So there's a lot more I could say about BVS, but we'll leave that alone. Wonder Woman 2017 really showed the
Yeah.
beauty of matriarchy. So Wonder
Yeah.
Woman grew up in a matriarchal system, which was made up
Right.
of
Paradise.
her mom,
Themyscira.
Themyscira, right?
Yeah.
So some of the advantages of the matriarchal system was the Amazons worked together. So even when they were fighting, they were working together. They'd build off of each other's shields, ramp each other's shields. They'd fire
Yeah.
together. They fight together, right? And
Mhm.
another thing about it is the leaders led.
Yeah.
So they led the whole team into war, and they would fight with the others. But they were also not just a society that dealt with war. They were a society also that dealt with they had their own little like parliament
Political
or
agendas.
congress or whatever. Yeah, yeah. They had their own political system,
Yeah.
and then they had their own civilian lifestyles, which was really cool. So
Yeah.
I thought that, and then they worked together. They worked together. They were very what's the word I'm looking for? United in what they were doing.
United.
Yes, they may disagree on something, but they would come to a consensus and then move.
Yeah.
Which reminds me of somewhat of the Chinese system, by the way.
Yeah.
But I would say that what I appreciated in Wonder Woman particularly was how she went to the world of men, as they call it, and
Yeah.
she was able to create certain observations when she was talking to
Because she
the
thought it was
tactical
Aries. She looked
leaders.
for Aries. She thought it was Aries that caused the war. She thought it was
Right,
Aries who caused the war.
right. But what I'm saying is she spoke to them about war. Like she talked about if you're going to go into battle, don't put the soldiers there and you far behind. You know,
Yeah,
the leaders need to lead and they need to care for the other soldiers. You know, so there was those
mm,
kinds of things she was talking about, and how she talked about also people being you know, fear about don't abandon a town or city because tactically no, you have to look out for those people too. So remember when she went across no man's land just to save the
yeah.
people in the village, you
In
know.
the village, yeah, yeah.
So
That was a
those
great
kinds of
scene.
things, yes, those kinds of things I think is what made that movie deeper than just, you know, superficial stuff. Of
Yeah,
course, when she was crossing no man's land, it felt like, you know, the struggle that
yeah,
women have to this day, and just getting fair wages and fair pay and, you know, fair treatment. You know,
yeah,
just fair treatment. Just be if you're a person who did well and you deserve the job, then
yeah,
you shouldn't have to have a pay cut. You should same job. You know what I mean?
yeah. But
But boy,
they don't see
society
it that
today is
way.
still
Yeah,
it's still terrible to this day. So you still felt the
yeah,
struggle when she was crossing no man's land and people saying you shouldn't cross this and whatever, you know,
yeah,
because she wasn't afraid to step out and do that one. And two, she made it possible for other people to believe that it was possible. And I feel so much like those trailblazing women who constantly um, create new pathways for other women to follow behind. And, not just
yeah,
women, but sometimes other people, because sometimes the trailblazing women, nobody even venture to go where they go in. Man
mm,
or woman. You understand? And so
yeah,
it's something that I feel like that movie added something. It wasn't looking to male bash. It wasn't looking to put down people. It was looking to edify and add something to the equation and show how valuable, you know, your wives, your mother, your daughter, your sister
yeah,
are and enriching in your life. And you need to give them some credit. And in the
yeah,
workplace, you need to give these women some credit. And I feel like still to this day, we still have that battle, you know, amongst
yeah,
many other battles that we
yeah,
have to deal with in society. Because again, as much as I love people focusing on women, we had to also focus on the boy folk and the men. You know, we had to
yeah,
focus on both of them.
yeah,
Yeah, man. Well, I know you need to go to sleep. I just wanted to mention that. And also Zack Snyder's Justice League. We already kind of covered some of the things there. I'll have to maybe we have to do some more of this later on. But what I just want to say is I thank you
yeah.
for coming on here, Leroy. Uh
Great leg. My apologies for boring you. My apologies for
no,
boring you.
you ain't boring me at all. The only thing is
But
watch me, I have
Zack,
pages
Zack
upon
Snyder,
pages of stuff to
yeah,
say, but I just had to kind of bridge
yeah,
it because this otherwise we go to
yeah.
10 hours.
Yeah, Zack Snyder Justice League is still my number one movie, still my number one and greatest
Oh yes,
movie ever.
me too,
Zack
me too.
Snyder Justice League. So I
When it
don't
comes
give
to
a damn.
comic book, when it comes to comic book movies, this is my number one.
Yeah,
I just want to just mention two things in Zack Snyder
yeah,
Justice League. I thought it was beautiful. The first one was uh, he was able to show care for other people in unique ways. For example, with Cyborg, how he gave the
yeah,
woman all this extra money. In
yeah,
terms of Aquaman, how he treated the people in the village. In
yeah.
terms of uh, Batman, how he was taking care of
He
what's the
found
guy's
redemption because Superman was killed. He found redemption and decided to
what's the
unite all the heroes.
what Ezra Miller character name again? Not the Flash, but
No,
what was
no,
his actual name?
Flash
Barry
father,
Allen. Right, Barry
Barry
Allen.
Allen, Flash.
Yes, how he mentored Barry Allen, how he was able to help him to get to that point. You know, you could see it was
Yeah,
mentorship. So
yeah,
I really liked that, and how he even mentored Cyborg. How he, you know, was
yeah,
able to show kind of help Cyborg unlock himself. Besides Wonder Woman, she was also helping Cyborg,
yeah.
but him,
And
you know,
his father sacrificed himself. In Justice League, actually, the father did not die. In this one, Zack Cyborg's father died. in this one, sacrificed himself.
Yes, Cyborg's
Cyborg,
father. Yes, that's correct.
yeah, yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
yes. Um,
Great movie, 4 hours of epicness.
I'm telling you, boy.
And Cyborg
So
saw the future. Cyborg saw the future, the nightmare time, like what is going to occur near the
yeah.
end. Yeah,
um, uh, with with so I said Aquaman helped people, Cyborg helped people,
Wonder
Flash.
Woman. Yeah, Wonder Woman did well as well. Wonder Woman did well
Flash
as well.
specifically helped a specific person.
He saved them, practically saved them at the end by going back through time.
Yes, but I mean a
Yeah,
civilian in Iris West. So Iris
Iris West.
West was saved by Flash in a
Yeah,
spectacular
she was
fashion
she was in the Flash movie as well. Iris West. She was in the Flash movie as well,
at the end.
and the
But
first part as well.
okay,
He shared in the first part as well. Yeah, after I
all
saved
right,
all those babies,
right.
after I saved all those babies, you saw her.
Uh, I don't want to talk about
The Flash
that.
is good. I
But
love the Flash, despite what happened.
so
I love
so
the
so
Flash.
Wonder Woman.
Yeah,
Both Wonder Woman and Batman more worked
yeah,
on Cyborg and the Flash, right? That's what they were
yeah,
mostly. And of course, Wonder Woman was able to talk with Aquaman and to help him sort of sort
yeah,
out certain issues, right?
yeah.
So I think
And she flew in the movie too. She flew in Zack Snyder Justice League. Wonder Woman flew in the movie. She flew.
I don't remember flying.
She flew. Yes, when she was disabling the bomb, and when they were at the country, the shopping Steppenwolf, she flew over you see all them together moving. A Batman and she was flying right there. So after they saved Batman, when they go to save Batman from the Parademon, she flew right there. So it was well. And
So
she
she
flew up,
flew or she jumped.
she flew in the
She could
air
jump very
and
fine.
threw the bomb in the air. She also flew in the Flash. She flew in
Really?
the Flash. Yeah, she flew in the Flash.
We know
And we
she
all
flew
know.
in the Flash, but
Yeah,
she flew
she
in
flew in
Wonder
Wonder
Woman
Woman
84 as
84.
well.
Yeah, she
Yeah.
flew. Yeah.
But I don't know if she really flew in Zack Snyder. Just maybe
Yes,
not. I don't
man.
know.
When the
Looked
bomb,
like
yeah,
she jumped.
she choked in the air. Yeah,
Actually, she was flying since, well, I don't know.
yeah.
In Wonder
From
Woman
1984,
2017, I think she was
she
gliding or
flew at the
something,
end.
but she leaped
She
up in
flew
the
at
air.
the end. Yeah, at the end she flew in the end. She flew
I
when
don't
it
know if
was
she was
finished.
flying
She
or
flew.
she leaped or
Yeah,
what.
yeah. She was flying. Yeah, and it finished right there. So
Yeah, yeah.
yeah,
So what I was basically saying is, I loved how he would show the caring for humanity, not
yeah,
necessarily other league members, but humanity. And then the other thing I liked about it was the sense of family.
yeah,
You know, uh, sense of family. So different people like react to different ways, but I know this is something people covered already, but see
yeah,
here, there was okay. So in BBS we had human trafficking, which is a big issue. In fact, the
yeah,
Sound of Freedom is about human trafficking of young
yeah,
people of people.
yeah.
And then you have
Sound of Freedom is doing well as well. Doing well at the box office. Sound of Freedom doing well at
yes,
the
yes,
box office.
yes.
But well,
Yeah, I have to see that movie if I could see it.
yeah,
The other thing that was in Zack Snyder Justice League was terrorism, where the
yeah,
parademons had steal people as hostages and stuff like that.
yeah,
And of
yeah,
course, you had the decontamination of them, so they had to go into quarantine, and that reminded us of COVID,
yeah,
and it was in
yeah,
COVID season even. And then we also had we had ooh yes, we had the aspects of faith and belief, because in
yeah.
Zack Snyder's Justice League, Batman is no longer operating based on evidence and stuff. He's now acting out of just pure faith.
Mhm.
And so the other things I want to just talk about before I wrap up is um, actors and directors. You have to have the actor and the director. If it's just one, it doesn't work. So, for example, Henry Cavill without Zack Snyder didn't work for Superman. Christopher Reeve without Richard Donner didn't work for Superman. Michael Keaton without Tim Burton does not work for his Batman rendition. Patty
Okay.
Jenkins without Gal Gadot without Patty Jenkins and Zack Snyder doesn't work either. So I always
I think they would work. I think they would work, still work. They still would work without even without those directors because they're born to play that role. It still would work.
No,
Make it
it
something
will.
unique and special.
It doesn't work because um that's why you see certain actors with certain directors, like Christopher Nolan, the guy who just played Oppenheimer. You'll see that
Christian
actor
Bale,
with that director time and time again
Killian
because the
Murphy.
chemistry works and stuff works,
Oh,
and they produce proper movies. You look at when
okay.
Ben Affleck comes back together with Matt Damon, they do very well. So there's
Yeah.
just certain relationships that you shouldn't violate. For example,
Ben Affleck was awesome in the Flash. Ben Affleck, Gal Gadot, and Ezra Miller. They were also in the Flash. They were awesome in the Flash.
uh, you
And the
probably have
thing is,
different standards than I
James
do. I
Gunn,
just,
James Gunn is an idiot. James Gunn should not cut out Henry Cavill's scene in the Flash. He shouldn't cut out those scenes. You
I'll tell
understand
you
what I'm
what.
saying?
The CGI of Henry Cavill fighting the Justice League was terrible. Uh, Ben Affleck in the Flash movie with the lasso of
It's
truth
good.
on his arm was awful.
It was good. Well, I
The
like it. It
Flash
was good.
talking about he never had sex before was awful. It reminded me of Justice League 2017, to be honest with you. It reminded me of
It
Justice
was
League
good.
2017 Batman, and it reminded me of Justice 2017 Flash. You know,
Okay.
it's like they brought
I
them
like it.
right back.
It's not. It's not. It's not. It's not bad. It wasn't bad. But if
Oh my
James Gunn
God.
keep the
Anyway,
scene,
I was like, no.
yeah. But
You
if
know what I
James
mean?
Gunn keep the scene, he would have done better. See, he's doing well online right now, the Flash, because James Gunn turns off fans. That's the thing. And look how well it's doing right now. You know what
I
I
don't
mean?
know how well it's doing online. I don't really care.
It's doing well right now. Number one
I
selling.
don't care.
Yeah. So
It don't
that's
make
just it.
you don't make a lot of money doing online stuff. You do make your most amount of money you make is in the cinema, right?
Yeah, and James Gunn
And
blows it up.
man, listen. Bring back Zack Snyder.
That's the only
In
way.
fact, don't just bring back Zack Snyder. Bring back Patty Jenkins, because me personally, the Snyder Jenkins combination is the killer combination. You might need Jeff
Yeah,
Johns still in there, you know,
yeah.
Snyder, Jenkins, Johns, right? But at
Bring
the
back
end of the
Henry
day,
Cavill, Ben Affleck, and Gal Gadot. Yeah.
if you do Patty Jenkins, Jeff Johns combination, you're looking for failure, right?
Failed. It failed. Wonder Woman
Yes.
84. So
Right.
yeah.
Right. You
But
might say
right
it was an
now,
okay movie. For me, no.
yeah.
Right.
But right now, DC film is dead right now in the water. Dead in the water.
Oh
Sorry,
yeah,
I am out.
for sure.
I am done
For
with
sure.
DC film. I have no interest in James Gunn. Sorry, and I hope the strike lasts longer so they don't get off the ground. You know what I mean?
Why?
Because
The other thing I
they are
wanted to talk
losing
about
money.
is so I believe certain combinations really work and certain combinations
Yeah.
don't. Even though Henry Cavill was born to play Superman, for him to really
Yes.
shine, you need a director who understands what makes Superman Superman.
Yeah.
And I think Zach has that insight. Um, could Zach
And the
convey that
machete.
insight to
And the
other?
machete is a great
Can
director.
Zach convey that insight to other directors? I don't know, possibly.
Yeah.
And then it'll be up to them to take it and
Yeah.
carry it where whichever direction they want. But
Yeah.
with respect to Henry Cavill, I feel like he does best with Zach. I mean, the best I've ever seen Superman was with Zach. The other versions of Superman I've seen have really not really had me feeling anyhow about Superman.
I
It's
like
like
Superman.
because I think the main thing is
I
this
like
too.
Superman in Justice League theatrical and Black Adam. So that's how it is.
Let me explain something though. What I would say is this. Because they keep on beating us over the head with the John Williams theme, which does not fit the Superman. This Superman has a Hans Zimmer theme, right?
Okay.
And
Okay.
they decided to beat us over the head with nostalgia. Listen, that John Williams theme was for Superman 1978 with Richard Donner and
Okay.
Christopher Reeve. Why is it that people feel that you have to use that thing? It worked because Richard Donner specifically wanted a certain theme for that
Oh.
particular movie, right? And then all of a sudden it became an anthem. It wasn't so much. I mean, I'm sorry, Bruce Timm used his own thing. Superman,
Yeah. The animated
Lewis and
series.
Clark did their own thing, right? Lewis and
Yeah,
Clark did their own thing.
yeah,
Even Superman and Lewis do their own thing.
yeah,
Smallville did their own thing. Why is it
yeah.
now all of a sudden it's another Superman movie? Oh, we have to go back to that theme. Why? Why?
Team is
That's
good.
what
John
I can't
Williams team.
understand. Like, why are you doing that? Can't you
Okay.
understand that that was specific for a specific situation? And yeah, you can use it for other things and other Superman stuff interchangeably, yes. But sometimes certain characters just they they reinvented Superman. They didn't want to go back to that, and you force an issue on the thing. That's the problem, right?
Okay.
It's a problem to
I
me.
don't really mind. I think it sounds good to me. I think it sounds good. And The Rock had good intentions.
No,
The
but
Rock had good
no,
intentions.
no, no. This is a different Superman. He's not trying to be Christopher Reeve Superman. If he was trying to
Yeah.
be a Christopher Reeve Superman, yeah, sure. This is not that. Why are we trying to
But
make him
he's a
what he's
more
not?
but
He's not Christopher Reeves.
he's a more light-hearted Superman right now.
But
He's a more
listen,
light-hearted Superman.
listen, it don't matter. The point is,
Okay.
this is Henry Cavill. That's Christopher
Yeah.
Reeves. We're not
Okay.
trying to bring back. You see what they did in the Flash? They bring back a dead man and Supergirl into the Flash.
You see,
What
yeah,
as
because it's
digital
Speed
copies?
Force.
This is the same thing we're talking about with AI. You don't get the
Yeah.
permission from these people to do their likeness, but you want to use it in their movie for free, and
And
they
it looks
can't get
good.
no
And
royalties, nothing.
Nicolas Cage
It's
looks good
wrong.
as Superman as well. Nicolas Cage Superman looks good as well. Nicolas Cage, it looks
It
good.
looked great, but
Yeah.
did Nicolas Cage know he was even in the movie, and did he even get
Yes.
compensated for that?
Yes. He knows. They call him on the CGI. The CGI make him look younger. Yes, Nicolas Cage knows. They
I
paid
hope
him
he
a
got
money for that.
compensated a lot because that's for eternity. That digital copy is for eternity. So I just
Yeah.
hope they compensated him a lot of money because he definitely deserves that. You know what I mean? But what I'm saying is right.
But because
What
of
I'm
James
saying
Gunn
is
go
that
make back the money. But they're
you
going to
know
make back the money. They're going to make back the money eventually by
there's an
the
epic
streaming.
theme for Henry Cavill Superman. It's Hans Zimmer's Man of Steel theme, right?
Okay.
There's an epic
And
theme made for the guy.
yeah,
The
and
intention by Zack Snyder was never to use the Richard Donner theme like that
yeah. But the
blatantly,
thing is,
and they
Henry Cavill,
continue to these
yeah, Henry
hard-headed
Cavill
execs.
appears
That's
in the
why
Flash.
all they had to do, all they had to do, okay, you're bringing Superman with the blue suit in Black Adam.
Yeah. Yeah.
All they had to do was do the Hans Zimmer theme. That's all. He supposedly wearing the Man of Steel suits, right? He's
Yeah.
supposedly wearing the Man of Steel. Then why not play the Hans Zimmer theme? Why he couldn't do that? No, no. Well, all right then. That's why people didn't come up. Yeah, they showed up, but they didn't show up because you had some people who was mixed on it. But for me, that was never going to happen because he's not building. They had the opportunity. I suggested to them they had the opportunity to connect that thing to Zack Snyder's SnyderVerse. It just came. Black Adam came right up a little bit after Zack Snyder's Justice League came out. Right?
Yeah.
It came out in 2022. Zack Snyder Justice League came out in 2021. It set the foundation. All you had to do was line your stuff up with that. Couldn't do that? You really couldn't do that?
They let their egos get to their heads.
Come on,
Because
man.
that's what them are just like Zack Snyder. That's the thing.
Do
They're
they
against Zack Snyder.
want their movies to make money?
Yeah.
Money's supposed to trump ego any day, anytime.
Yeah. That's the thing. They would have made money.
Do
They would
you
have
want
made
your
more money.
movies to make money? Or do you want your
But
movies to flop?
they're joking it out. They joke it out. Because remember, I know these movies were to release from last year and they delayed to this year. It was supposed to release from last year and they delayed to
You
this
were
year.
telling me.
You know what I mean?
So let me get this straight.
Joking,
Zack
man.
Snyder's Justice League put out the fan favorite Oscar moments, right?
Yeah.
Which is the
Yeah.
Flash turning back time. You
Yeah.
have a Flash movie coming after that, and you still ain't follow up and link your movie to that. You're all
Yeah,
in
they're
lip service, all that lip service, but they didn't link
They're
the Flash
joking,
movie
man.
to that.
But
They
they're
didn't link
joking
it.
them.
That's what I'm trying to say. They link it to Justice League 2017, and I'm like, why? Why? Oh, because we think it's canon, bruh,
But
bruh.
all in all,
Seriously.
I love this two Justice League 2017, like Golden Age Silver Age. I enjoy it. You know, that's how it is.
So which one is better?
But I like both of them. I
No,
like
which
both
one
of
is
them.
better? Which one is better?
But
Let me
to
hear
me,
you.
Zack Snyder Justice League is better. Zack Snyder Justice League is better.
Okay.
But
All right.
I
So
love
here's
the
my
Justice League
point.
that characters like
No,
Golden Age Silver Age. So
here's my point. Here's my point. Which one is fans demanding that they get a sequel for?
Zack Snyder Justice League.
Okay then. So any studio, I don't care if you like Justice League 2017. It's not what you like as a studio. It's what the fans and audience want, right? If
Yeah,
they
but
want
they're
a
not doing it.
sequel to Zack Snyder's Justice League, I don't know, anybody with half a brain would say, let me put this movie now in cinemas. We'll put it in
Yeah,
cinemas, see how it does, and then we'll see if we get a sequel.
and
And
it would have made money.
and
It would have been $1 billion.
and here's the thing. I am doing this as also as a promotion for the Flash movie. So I'm gonna put it in cinemas just before the Flash movie come out. And make people
They're not going to
super
do it.
duper hyped for the Flash movie. They would have been so hyped for the Flash movie, even if it was garbage, it would at least make
Yeah,
$600 million, just like Justice League 2017, because people are so hyped.
yeah. But
You
they're
know what I'm
not doing
saying?
it. James Gunn lets his ego get to his head, and Toby Emmerich and Walter Hamada and those
Don't
idiots.
understand these
Those
people. Are they
clowns. Yeah,
that stupid? Like you
yeah,
don't like money? You know what I'm saying? Now
yeah.
Blue Beetle coming out, right? Zack Snyder just
You know
say
what?
he gonna watch Blue Beetle. If you're
I'm not
smart,
watching
if you
it.
have half a brain, you'll put Zack Snyder Justice League in it as soon as you can. When Blue Beetle coming out in August,
August, yeah.
put it out the week before Black Beetle.
They're not going to do
Put it
it.
out the week before Black Beetle. Then
James
put out
Gunn is
Black
not going to
Beetle.
do it. James Gunn
You
not
get what I'm
going to do it
saying?
because James Gunn is showing his middle fingers to us true
Because
fans,
what
us
you're
fans like
doing
him
is
that
you're hyping people for the movie. Even if Black Beetle is shit, at least a whole set of people will come out the first week because it's so hype coming off of Zack Snyder Justice League. It's so hype. Haven't seen it from IMAX, and Zack saying I go in and see it. Well, everybody's like, frick it, I'm going to see
yeah.
it too. You understand the
I'm not
hype,
watching it.
the hype, the
I'm not
endorphins.
watching
People are not going to be thinking straight. So real people are going to see Black people for no reason at all.
Blue Beetle. But I'm not watching it. I'm not watching it because of James Gunn. James Gunn turns me off. You know what I mean? He turns me
All right,
off,
let me
which is
ask you
sad.
something though. Let's say they put out Zack Snyder Justice League in cinemas, IMAX and stuff,
Yeah,
globally.
yeah.
And you go, you see it how many times you want, and
I
you're
won't
happy.
watch it as much time. I'll probably watch that probably a
Right.
hundred times in theaters.
And then Zack Snyder say, hey, go see Black Beetle.
Go see Blue Beetle.
When do you
Not
go
Black
see
Beetle.
Black Beetle?
Blue Beetle.
Huh?
No,
Blue Beetle,
no, I
sorry,
wouldn't
my
watch
bad,
it.
Blue Beetle.
No,
That's right.
I wouldn't watch that. I wouldn't watch that because of James
Damn,
Gunn.
bruh. I went and watched Wonder Woman 84 because I knew Zack Snyder Justice League was coming up. That's why I
Yeah,
went. I went with Damien. We watched it. Well, I laughed my belly full because to me it was
yeah,
terrible. But
yeah,
I was like, the consolation is Zack Snyder Justice League is after, so I don't care. I went just to
yeah.
say I was good, you know? And my point is, I would do that. I would go see Blue Beetle. Definitely.
Okay.
I'd go see Blue Beetle if I get to see Zack Snyder Justice League in the cinema.
Yeah.
And
But they're not
especially if
going
they
to.
say, we are planning on doing a sequel after this. Dude,
Yeah,
I'd watch anything DC.
yeah.
I
But they're
don't
not
care
going to
what
do
it
that.
is.
They're
I'd
not going to
watch
do
it.
that. James
Huh?
Gunn is rebooting, so they're not going to do it because James Gunn lets his ego get to his head. James Gunn is an
But
asshole.
bro, but let's say they say that for some reason, whatever reason it is. They say,
I don't
listen,
know.
you know what? We're gonna just let the SnyderVerse run on. James Gunn still be doing his movies.
Yeah.
Let's say they make that announcement. Now we don't
They
know if
should
they're gonna
implement that
keep their
in
word.
as elsewhere. They should implement that as elsewhere, like what they do with Joker And Robert Pattinson's
Yeah,
Batman.
probably they do. They say, you know what, we're gonna do this, but we're gonna do it with Universe, something like that or whatever, right?
Yeah, yeah, you understand?
They partner with somebody else, not really
Yeah,
necessarily Warner Brothers, but Zack Snyder's Justice League is coming out and it will come out in theaters and be
yeah,
hyped. And it just obviously we will all go nuts. But after
yeah,
we calm down, does
yeah,
that mean that we at least say to them, all right, you meet us halfway, we're going to now meet you halfway, we're going to actually go watch a Blue Beetle movie.
yeah. But
Would
they're
you do
not going to
that?
do that. Yes, I would do it. Yeah,
That's what I'm trying to say. That's what I'm trying to say. Because
yeah,
I believe that if they scratch my back, I will scratch their back. Quite frank.
yeah.
I'll
But they're not
definitely
going to
do
do
that.
it. James Gunn not going to do it. James Gunn is an asshole. That's how I see it. So, and he's recasting Superman and all of that. Not going to work. His plan's not going to work. Sorry. And this strike stalled everything. This strike right now stalled everything. So,
I know the strike is really definitely going to affect stuff, and
yes,
I believe that that strike is not going to end. And I believe, let me be honest with you,
yeah,
right? You know why I feel that strike will have more power to it right now? In light of
right,
all the things Warner Brothers has done for
yeah,
the creatives, how he affected the directors, then how they're
yeah,
mistreating the cast and people since Justice League
yeah,
2017. It's been going on in Warner Brothers and far less
yeah,
for other places like Disney and so on, Netflix
yeah,
even. So it's a thing that's a problem, and so that's why these people are striking. And to be honest
yeah,
with you, I don't think they're unreasonable in what they're asking for. You know,
yeah, yeah,
I can't understand why they want to let them at least have some of those things. So me
yeah,
personally, I agree with them, and I know that we as a fandom kind of fuel some of that in the sense that we stood up to them and said, no, you
yeah,
can't be mistreating actors like that. No, you can't be doing that to Ray Fisher, blackballing them
yeah,
because he stand up
yeah,
for people and so on. And I know there were strikes before, but this time now it's like bigger. It's like the Writers Guild and even the
and it's not going to resolve by a year, and it's not going to resolve. Not going
no,
to resolve.
because they intend to try and make the people, oh no, you can't get a piece of the profits from the movie when it
Yeah,
does well. And they're saying also you can't you can't tell us how much to charge you for a digital image of yourself. I feel that's wrong.
yeah,
They should
yeah,
have some sort of percentage of any profits from use of the
yeah,
digital image, and it should be given. You have to get permission to use their likeness. I agree
yeah,
100%, but they don't want to do
yeah,
that, and they put certain people in movies,
yeah,
and without them knowing that they were in the
yeah,
movie. Like for instance,
yeah.
Aries, the actor for Aries, I think it was, and also somebody
David
else.
Toulis. David Toulis.
David Lewis didn't know, and then on top of that, who else was put in that movie and he didn't even know they were in the movie.
Oh,
Um,
oh,
I don't know what they did with Gal too with her digital image. I don't know if they the Gal's a double for Gal was used.
Shazam and Shazam Fury of the Gods. Yeah, Shazam Fury of the Gods. You're talking. Yeah,
Right, yes.
yeah.
Yes. So a double was put in, but that digital face was put on the double.
Oh, oh, oh,
So some of the scenes she didn't act them was
oh.
a digital double. So that's what I'm trying to tell you. Now they could take Gal's likeness and do all kind of thing with it, and that's not cool.
Yeah,
She should be compensated for that, and she should be able to have to give permission for that. But Warner Brothers don't want to do that, and also Disney doing the same thing. And then the head of Disney talking about, oh, those things are too hard. We can't make. Man, shut up, man. You're making hundreds of
yeah,
millions of dollars.
yeah.
Shut up.
It's true. Yeah, it's true. Yeah, yeah. They're assholes. They're a bunch of snakes. They're pieces of
Man,
shit.
I ain't gonna go that far, but what I say is it's
Yeah,
wrong what they're doing. They're exploiting
yeah,
people and collecting lots of money from the talent. That's what they've been doing for the longest while,
yeah,
and people just not
yeah.
having that anymore.
Yeah, yeah. It's not going to resolve anytime soon, though. It's not going to resolve. I heard that Spider-Man across the Spider-Verse, the third Spider-Man. delayed as well through that because of the strike, because the
Yeah, I
animators are
know.
on strike as well.
Yeah,
Because they were badly treated. But
yeah.
Spider-Man is doing well now at the box office, but the other
And
one
what
is delayed. It's doing
what
well at
these
the box
companies
office.
do now is hiring a host of that. Excuse me, a
Yeah,
host of that AI people.
yeah,
They're
yeah,
hiring Disney and all these people, so they're trying to get rid of other people. You see how they treat the special effects people in Disney?
yeah. The visual effects, yeah, they treat them bad. They treat them very bad.
Yeah, they're treating these people bad, man. It's
Yeah,
not
they are in
right.
trouble now. These in trouble now because they're not making money. They are losing money right now.
Right, because they, they have nobody to steal ideas from anymore.
Yeah, Indiana Jones, Indiana Jones not doing well. The Disney movie is not doing well right now.
That's too bad. But that's on
But
them because they make a whole set of money off of stuff that me personally don't think. If that was a DC movie, that ain't making no money.
yeah,
But
and
they had the
look how
budget
much
from.
money. Look how much money Barbie's making now, over 775 million right now. It
Yeah,
will probably billion
making a lot of
by
money.
weekend. I
To
don't
me,
watch that.
for
I have
crap,
no interest. It's pro
I
crap.
don't like that movie at all.
Yeah,
Some woman
and they have
trying to
another.
defend the movie, talking about is about on Facebook. I think it's your
Yeah,
post.
Facebook.
She's saying
I
how
see and the lady duking it out on my post on Facebook. What?
yeah, she trying to
Yeah,
say how, but she can't mention an instance. I said mention one instance where male leadership was positively portrayed in the movie. She can't say
yeah.
yet. Up to
They
now.
portray that men as idiots, men as fools in the movie. No,
Yeah, that's
no.
trippiness.
Yeah.
It's trippiness.
It's
So
most
you can't
women
do
watching the
male
movie
bashing.
still.
You male bashing, that's male bashing in the movie,
Yeah.
and
It's,
just because of Barbie movie, come on, man.
yeah. It's most female watching the movie anyway. That's why I'm making so much money. But sorry, I have no interest. I have no interest in Barbie. Sorry.
You know who went and see Barbie?
Eh.
Nas. Nas Abdul.
Okay. Yeah, yeah,
You know Nas Abdul?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. He didn't want to go and see it, but the viewers put up money and he was like, all right. And he dressed up like a Ken. He had blonde hair and all.
Okay. Yeah.
Man, I really laugh. I
Oh boy.
boy, I crack up on that boy. That's so funny.
Ken as an idiot. The movie will pick Ken as an idiot. No crap.
Yeah, yeah, for sure, for sure. I mean, Ken portrayed in Barbie is doesn't do nothing, eh? To be honest with you.
Yeah.
And, Ken doesn't do nothing, so I could understand the character not doing anything, just
Yeah,
sitting on a
but
beach.
it's metal is getting most of the profit. WWE only getting 25% of the profit.
Ah, wow,
Mhm.
that's terrible. So they probably put
So
up the money. They probably put
yeah,
up the money for that.
yeah. So
See,
if it
that's the
goes a
thing.
billion, that's just how it is. You have many crap
Mattel
movies
is
that goes a billion, you know. Many crap movies out there grows up. It doesn't necessarily mean that it's good. You know what I mean? When movie grows a billion, it don't
exactly.
necessarily mean that it's good. You have a lot of crap movies out there made up make a whole lot of money.
Yeah, for sure. You know
Yeah.
what was good though? I thought it was Transformer: Rise of the Beast. I thought it was good.
Transformers Rise of the Beast was good. Yeah.
Yeah,
And it made
I
only
like that.
426. It made less money than the other Transformers, but I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
I enjoyed Mission Impossible Did Reckoning Part 1.
You know, I
It's
didn't
not
see
doing
that
so
yet.
well either.
I
With
didn't see
Tom Cruise,
that.
yeah.
I have a couple movies I have to see, but I'll get to see them. I'll see them in the cinema.
Oppenheimer
Probably
is
this.
not 400 million. Oppenheimer is not over 400 million.
Yeah,
Oppenheimer.
it's gonna make about 500 million very
Yeah,
soon.
yeah,
Yeah, they're doing good. They're doing good.
yeah.
You saw it?
But if no, I didn't get to see. I heard it was good, but I never really get to see. But if Barbie was released by itself, it wouldn't make no money around because it's released alongside Oppenheimer. That's the
Yeah,
thing. Yeah, it would make money if it was released by
there's
itself. It
right
would have
now for
flop.
Nolan name. Nolan name
Yeah,
and
yeah,
Nolan credit. Yeah, yeah.
yeah. That's the thing. That's strategy thing. You understand?
I mean, it is what it is. I happy
It is
for
what it is.
I happy for Margot Robbie because that's her company that also produced it and
Yeah, she's a feminist. Yeah, Margot Robbie is a feminist. So that's yeah.
she produced that she produced Birds of Prey and she produced
Birds
this
of
one
prey.
and
Yeah.
Greg Silverman was there when she did some movie with him, some movie project with him, which was
Okay.
a good movie project. I can't remember what it is right now. So he's
Okay.
happy for
Yeah.
that movie
But
doing so well.
Flash is my best movie of 2023. I don't give a damn. Flash is my number one movie of 2023.
I don't know if I went to cinema and see any movies. Did I? Yes, I saw something in the cinema. I can't remember what it. Oh,
Oh,
my favorite movie was Air so far. Ben Affleck
here,
and Matt Damon.
Matt Damon. Yeah, based on a true story. Yeah, yeah, not
That
bad.
was good. That was good.
Yeah.
Air was good for me. I want to see Oppenheimer and I want to see Sound of Freedom.
Sound of Freedom. Sound of Freedom is good, doing well. Yeah.
You didn't see it yet?
Sound of Freedom. It's based
You
on a
saw
true
it?
story. Sound
You
of
saw it?
Freedom is good. Yeah, it's good. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
I want
good.
to see that.
Yeah. With
So
Jim Caviezel, it's good. Yeah. The
so
SJW
that
them are against it. The SJW people are against it, saying this and saying that. But it's a good movie.
I haven't seen it yet. I don't know if I'll see it.
Yeah,
I haven't seen any
it's good.
Mission Impossible movie for a while.
The Mission
So
Impossible Dead Reckoning Part One is good. I like it, and Part Two is coming next year, if depending on the strike. But it's Barbie. Take it to a Barbie Heimer made a
I
big
really
impact.
don't care about Barbie. I care about
Yeah,
Oppenheimer.
yeah, yeah. It made that only $400 and something dollars. Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part Two. So they said it needs to gross at least 900 million, but I don't think it's going to make that much money. But Tom Cruise is okay. Tom Cruise is quite alright. Tom Cruise made his money alright. Tom Cruise quite alright more than me and you.
Well, we'll see what happens in part two. Probably because it's part one.
Yeah,
Uh,
part two is going to be made. Part two is going to is going to be made. Part two is already made. Yeah, practically. It was just released next year.
what do you think
Depending on the
of
strike.
Rebel Moon? You want to see Rebel Moon or not?
Right, I'm going to if Rebel Moon comes out, it doesn't look bad. Rebel Moon looks good. It looks good. Zack
I
Snyder is
kinda
going to be
I'm
good.
very interested in seeing what story he has with that because
Yeah, he's a
that looks
trilogy.
like
You know,
a
he's going to do three movies. He's going to do a trilogy because Ray Fisher is in it and the
yeah,
girl.
and he's Blood Axe.
Yeah, it looks good. It looks good.
Yeah,
Zack Snyder
fighting
is happy about Netflix. Guy get his freedom and do what he wants to do. So I think he's already moved on. So
Yeah, he moved on a bit, but he's always
yeah,
open to doing some DC movies, particularly
yeah,
continuing his Zack Snyder Justice League. So I would
yeah,
love to
yeah.
see him finish it. I would love to see David Ayers. David Ayers still posting up his stuff on Twitter as well. So
Suicide
I would love
Squad,
to
yeah.
see David Ayers
Suicide
Suicide
Squad,
Squad. Yeah, yeah, for sure, for sure. See what
yeah,
Jared Leto did. And then I also love to see let's see, this the Air cut. Oh yeah, Ben Affleck's Batman movie. I definitely need
yeah,
to see that.
yeah. Love to see that too
I'm
as
not
well.
gonna
Yeah,
let that go. That's not going to ever be let go because I want to see. I want to see how Dread Batman,
yeah.
Deathstroke will be bad too. I would love to
James,
see that.
James Gunn stops everything. James Gunn, me and asshole self stops everything. And the strike what's
Well,
going
if he
on
keep
right.
on producing flops, he gonna
Yeah,
have to go. So it don't really matter.
and they have to practically sell out DC to Universal, sell out DC elsewhere because they're losing. They're going to lose. They're
They
going to lose.
lose a
Yeah,
billion dollars in movies already.
yes, yes. And they're losing
So
more. And if they release Aquaman, they're going to lose. I heard that James Wan, if Aquaman don't work out, James Wan are probably going to sue them because James Wan is very upset right now. He's upset with James Gunn right now. So that's the thing right
but
now. He's
he's the
not happy.
clown allowing James Gunn to do what he do. So why he vex?
No, because they portraying Aquaman, they
Oh,
do
you mean
there's
James
three
Wan?
shoots.
James Wan. I thought
Yeah,
it said David Zaslav. Okay, I thought it was
no
David
man,
Zaslav.
James Wan. James Wan is upset with James Gunn right because he's interfering with Aquaman right now. And they're going reshoots and all of that. So sorry, they're not smart. He's not smart. You know what I mean? He should leave these movies alone. That's the thing. He should leave the DC movies alone. They will be making money now. You know what I mean?
When we was talking about Superman Lost and Found, said us this. There's a difference in the suit and minor hairstyle change when he was talking about Superman. Because I was trying to show you how Zack Snyder's Superman is
Yeah,
different to what they saw in Black Adam. Because Black Adam
yeah.
Superman is fine. I mean, it's
It
fine,
still looks
but
good. But Henry Cavill still look. No matter
he's
the
not
change, it
great.
still looks good to me. It
Not
still looks
great
great
though.
to me. It still looks
Nah,
great to me.
nah,
Yeah.
nah. No way, no way, no way.
Ben Affleck looks good in the Flash. Gal Gadot looks good in the Flash. So anyway, put it.
Gal Gadot look okay in the Flash. I wasn't impressed
Yeah.
at all because again, the suit looked cheap, and
Okay.
even the cars, the truck that was crashing and stuff didn't look real. It looked like some kind of,
Okay.
I don't know what it
And
was. It
you know
wasn't
the
looking like
Flash.
a real truck.
At the end of the Flash, when he's been after talking
I feel like they didn't get to finish the CGI. Like what happened
yeah,
was they did a complete thing for the Flash, and then they made them
yeah,
do over something, and so the
yeah,
CGI people was working overtime, and they never got to
yeah.
finish the CGI on the Flash.
But now that there's a 4 cut of the Flash, there's a 4 cut of the Flash. Maybe next 100 years before we see that. But the
Why?
thing is, at the end of the Flash, look here, it's Ben
Yeah,
Affleck calling Barry Allen. Say, Barry, you have to find me. You have to find me. You have to find me, Barry Allen.
yeah, I
And they
know.
cut out that. They cut out that scene.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to tell you. I feel like they redid a lot of scenes in the Flash, and they didn't get to
Yeah,
finish the CG for it.
James Gunn do it. James Gunn doing it, which is making a big mistake. Makes a
Yeah.
big. And they were planning a Man of Steel 2 with Sasha Kaya and Henry Cavill with Superman fighting Brainiac, but James Gunn stopped it.
Hey, that's basically what I got. I don't want to really moan and groan. I just want to say that
Yeah,
is what I was talking about with significance for these movies. There's a lot more I wanted to say, but I think I'm gonna cut it for time. We're almost 3 hours in,
yeah.
and plus you need
Okay.
to go to sleep. You going to work
Yeah.
tomorrow?
Yeah, going to work tomorrow. Yes,
All
yes.
right. So let me
So,
give you a chance to get some sleep,
yeah.
and
I think Tuesday
I'll
is
be
going to be
back
a
again.
holiday here. Tuesday going to be
I'll
a
be
holiday, Emancipation Day here in Jamaica.
great
Tuesday,
stuff.
the 1st of
Actually,
August. Yeah.
the 1st of August for us as well is going to be Emancipation Day as well. So we are going
In
to be,
Trinidad, Emancipation Day in Trinidad as well?
yeah, yeah.
Okay, okay, okay.
So it's
All
the
right
same
then.
thing. So
Yeah,
we will be there. I'll be streaming again on
yeah.
Tuesday. I'm gonna catch you later, man.
It's a great live. All right. Take care.
Great,
Tuesday's a
great to
holiday. I
have
think
you.
Tuesday's a
You've been a
holiday.
great guest as
Yeah,
always.
yeah. So take care.
Uh,
All right
you
then.
too, man, Leroy. And if you have a stream on your channel, let me get on it, please.
Yes. Okay then. All right then. All right then.
All
Take
right,
care. Bye bye.
bless.